And we're live.
What's going on, guys? Welcome. This is the first of our wrap-up episodes for the month of December. Tonight we're talking about best 4K, best box sets. We were going to try to narrow it down to 5 each, but like every episode that we try to do something with a number, we ended up getting a lot more than 5 each. So tonight's going to be fun. We're talking about 4Ks and box sets. But before that, Ryan's got an announcement before we go into pickups.
So we are still streaming on both of our channels tonight, but if you look in the description below, we have the Discovering Cinema. The new channel is linked in the description. We're going to be switching over to that by the first of the year. So after we go through all of the December roundups, we're going to be streaming primarily to that one so it doesn't clog up both of our channels.
Yep.
So we will.
I'm sure we'll talk about it off air, but I'm sure we'll have some content exclusive for that channel too.
Of course, absolutely.
Before we get into the countdown, do you want to talk about pickups, Jeff?
Yeah, let's talk about pickups. I finally got one of my. I ordered a whole bunch of stuff together. Orders that I didn't do from Diabolic. What's going on, Matt?
Go on, Matt.
So I've got some old stuff here. I've got Deep Red from Arrow in 4K.
Okay, I thought that was the standard. I was like, what?
I've got the Sabata trilogy.
Yes.
I've got another good one, Full Alert from Eureka. One I've been looking forward to, Dementor and Jugface. Yeah, Jugface is supposed to be good too.
Service.
And then it came with Fassbinder Volume 1.
Is that French Tarkovsky?
I don't think he's French. I think he's Austrian or German.
Worse.
He's German.
Oh, that's weird. That's even worse.
All right.
French fans.
Nerd's here too. What's going on, Nerd?
Oh, Nerd, by the way, watched Old Henry. Favorite movie of the year.
Damn.
Taylor loved it too. I loved it. I wish in the trailer they did not spoil the twist because I thought that would have been like if they did not show that in the trailer, that twist would have been so fucking cool. Especially if you knew the history. And I had just got done. I'm gonna say it. It's Billy the Kid. I just got to listen to a 4-part podcast series about Billy the Kid. So going in, they were saying those names, and I was like, that's so cool. Because if you would have not known, you would have been like, oh my god, this is so cool. What a good movie. Stephen Dorff fucking destroys, and even Trace Adkins was great.
Nice. What's up, Flex?
But speaking of westerns, before we get into
Maximus,
my pickups, I want to say RIP to one of my favorite labels, Wild East Productions. This is their last release right here, The Ugly Ones with Thomas Millian. Wild East has been going on for 21 years. And today they announced, they sent a little message. They said, we would like to thank the Spaghetti Western community for your continued support over the past 21 years. We regret to announce that 2021 will be the last year for Wild East Productions. Unfortunately, rising production costs and newly emerging technology have made it impossible to compete, especially with larger companies. We wish to thank all of you for your loyal support and hope to maintain valued friendships that we've made along the way. So Wild East Productions, very much on the same lines of Samurai Cinema, was an extremely niche genre-focused label. They were focusing on spaghetti westerns, Italian cinema in general. One of their first 10 releases was The Violent Professionals. And if you go back and you look at their catalog, you'll notice that they were kind of the first ones to put out a lot of titles that we hold in high regard now. So, Violent Professionals, The Tough Ones, Day of Anger. They even put out most of the Sartana movies. They put out Massacre Time under a different name, Kill Them All and Come Back Alone, which I've talked about a lot on this channel. I really, really love that movie. Death Rides a Horse, a couple of Django movies, and God Save the King. Pretty much that Western Vintage Trail box set that Arrow put out this year. All of those got DVD releases from Wild East Productions. It was run by two guys. I think they're in their 70s now. And sadly, they are calling it quits, and it sucks because they're one of my favorites. I mean, they're not jam-packed full of special features, but they did have interviews on their disc, commentaries and stuff. So this is their final release right here. This is The Ugly Ones. If you can find this sold out right away. Which I'm going to guess when they say rising production costs, I'm gonna guess maybe just they can't compete with other labels with offering studios money for licenses.
Right.
They only usually did about 1,000 copies, and they usually sold out of most of them. There's a few on Amazon that are still available. I have probably maybe 20-ish of their 76 plus titles that they put out. I'm gonna try to eventually collect them all, but they are very expensive. But rest in peace to them. My pickups this week, though, got the one. I was showing Ryan this off air. This is so ridiculous for such a stupid movie. Slipcover in a steel book. Comes with a poster. That's just Jet Li on the poster. This movie is bad, but it's like nostalgia that's making me love it. It's a bad movie. It really is. And then Fractured Vision's new release, Freehand for a Tough Cop.
Yep, I got that one on the way too.
I watched this much better transfer than Silent Action. Silent Action was DNR'd to hell, but this one looks great. Also, I have to say, I love that they put the Italian name on the spine. Eureka did that with The Great Silence too, and I think that's so cool.
Nice.
And then last week we talked about SamuraiDVD.com. I got my order in. Checked a couple of the discs today. Quality's good, but I will say I was wrong. They are burnt discs. These are technically bootlegs. They buy the official discs from Japan. They then put subtitles on themselves. But I got one of the only Lone Wolf and Cub movies that I'm missing in my collection. This is Assassin on the Road to Hell. This was a made-for-TV movie that's a retelling of the 6 movies, but there's an ending. He actually gets to the final showdown. Tamasaburo Wakayama plays the main bad guy. So the head of the Gyagu clan in the Lone Wolf and Cub series with the white hair, Lone Wolf is playing that character in this movie. It's actually pretty decent. I have seen this before. It is pretty decent. It was made in 1989. It's 140 minutes. It's long. But the coolest thing that I got from them is this behemoth of a box.
Before you talk about that, can I talk about something on that?
Yes.
I actually have a gift for you.
Oh, you do?
And this is kind of a momentous moment for this channel and for growing to our own channel from our own split the way that we've been doing it. I watched Lone Wolf and Cub last night.
The first one?
Yes, sir.
Oh my God, this is better than Christmas.
My wife fell asleep pretty damn quickly, and I was shocked. This was really well made,
Yes.
super engaging. I can't wait to see the next 5. Everything was nice. The dialogue was great. The practical gore is pretty damn well done.
And I want to highlight this comment right here from Eric. He's right. The second one is the best, and you are going to be blown away by how good it is. It's great. I'm so happy that you liked it.
I have hesitated putting it in Letterboxd because I wanted to surprise you here live with everyone.
Well, I'm glad that you liked it because it's my favorite franchise, my favorite movie franchise.
Well, then I hope you really like Leprechaun.
Is that?
I'm just kidding.
Is that yours?
I'm just kidding.
Oh man. Oh man. Oh, what's up, Ice? He's using his, I guess his niece's YouTuber, his sister's. It looks like. So this is my second pickup. Speaking of Lone Wolf and Cub, starring Tamasaburo Wakayama. This is the Mute Samurai. This is all 26 episodes on 13 discs. This has a really cool history, and if you don't mind, can I tell it? It's a
Of
little.
course.
So the Mute Samurai. Speaking of the Great Silence, which is up there, the Great Silence. What's going on, Zach? Shintaro Katsu, who is Zatoichi, and Hideo Gosha, who directed 3 Outlaw Samurai, they went and saw the Great Silence together in theaters, and they were enamored with it. They wanted to make a film franchise. Let's go on Flickering Waves. They wanted to make a film franchise based on the Great Silence, but set it in samurai times. So they actually came close to getting the rights. They were about to sign the papers. Then fucking Clint Eastwood came through and stole them. Like not stolen, but he bought the rights. He paid more than like what they could reasonably pay. I think what he eventually did with that license was Joe Kidd is what eventually came of his adaptation of The Great Silence. Not a good movie. But they said, let's just still do that same premise, but change it to just the Mute Samurai. So they got Shintaro Katsu's brother, Thomas and Buro Wakayama, famous for playing Ogami Ito in the Lone Wolf and Cub movies. This was before Lone Wolf, and it's basically the same premise. As a young kid, his vocal cords were cut. He can't talk, and it's him wandering through Japan as a Ronin, doing odd jobs. And what's really cool is that each movie is like film level quality. You have you have people like Shintaro Katsu directs 2 episodes. Hideo Gosha directs a few episodes. He's a great filmmaker. Kinji Mizumi, who directed 4 out of the 6 Lone Wolf and Cub movies, directs 3 episodes, and then Thomas and Buro Wakayama himself directs 2 episodes, and they're actually really good. The show is extremely well made, and I just think it's funny that every time I get into a new show or a new movie, it's either a Western influenced by samurai movies, or it's a samurai movie or show based on Westerns. Right. The first wave of samurai movies was really influenced by John Ford, and then, of course, Jimbo then inspired The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, not The Good, Bad, the Ugly, but the Dollars trilogy, and that influenced so much. So it's just back and forth with Japan.
And then there's the other part. A lot of that all comes from Shakespeare too.
Yeah. So so it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. But this show is available on YouTube. It is of lesser quality. These DVDs look really, really, really nice. It's a great show. I highly recommend it. It's only 26 episodes, so it's not too long. But it is awesome. There is a little bit of a through line plot wise, but really happy to have the Mute Samurai.
Interesting.
And I just thought that that history was interesting. That the Great Silence is what it was supposed to be. So,
a good time to talk about that title, obviously, with it just getting a good release.
It's one of the best releases of the year, in my opinion. But what do you want to do first? 4Ks?
Well, first, Ice is asking, is it a stacker case?
No, it's not. It's they're all on individual spools, so they are.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's 13 of those.
They actually cared.
I mean, for bootlegs, this is about as nice quality as you're going to get, and it's not like he's bootlegging the Zatoichi films. He's bootlegging TV shows.
Something that won't get a release.
Who's going to license a 26 episode show about a mute samurai?
Right. Maximus is saying people on Reddit have gotten shipping confirmation on the 7 folk horror set, and what's funny, I've seen people get shipping on folk horror, on the Nunsploitation, and on Black Friday. I've got shipping on none, so a lot of people are still waiting on all of them. Do not worry. Bubba Fett, what's going on? Good to see you. There was one more. Let's see. Ash, I asked. He said Severin got my shipping all wrong. Hopefully, I'll get it the next 6 to 12 months. Hope that gets worked out. Severin is a mess. We'll talk about him tonight a little bit. And then Dave got his Vinegar Syndrome shipping notification.
I still got mine.
Yeah, I just got mine, and I'm a subscriber, so it'll still be a while.
I do want to say about Severin, for a company, because they don't put out stuff that I'm normally interested in, but for a company who puts out high quality stuff, they seem so poorly managed.
With certain things, yes, for sure.
Oh man.
Yes, John, of course they like you more. Oh, dang. Okay, so here's Ash's story. I bought the folk horror in Nundle box, but didn't pick separate shipping. Therefore, was told to pay the extra $15 through PayPal, which caused confusion. Been emailing back and forth explaining, but they keep saying they will tell their packaging team. Wow, that's rough. Hopefully they get that worked out. Yeah, Matt got his Vinegar Syndrome order today, and it's freaking huge.
Like he has it?
He has it in hand. He lives way on the East Coast, right next to their home base, though.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Should we do 4Ks first or box sets?
Let's do 4Ks, since it's. I think for me, it's a smaller batch.
Yeah.
You have. Why don't you go through studio 4Ks first, and then we'll do boutiques together.
Okay. I'm kind of a quality snob, so I really go for 4Ks a lot more than anything else. And this was the harder one to nail down for me. I am one of the odd ones where if I get a box set, I try to spread that out and like really absorb into that for a long time. So I'm never going to be. What's that?
I'm the opposite. I fucking devour a box set.
I like that Zheng Yamu set, or Am I saying it right? Yeah. I'm not going to sit down and watch all 8 films and then go through all the commentaries and everything in the span of like 2 weeks. I can't do that. I would rather feel the difference of that and break it up throughout like the entire year. So all of my box sets, when I share those tonight, I've not seen all of any of them. It's going to be what my impressions of them are and what I've got so far from them. But 4K is where it's at for me. I literally had to sit down and take physical notes of like 30 different releases. Yeah, ridiculous. So I'm going to go through fairly quickly on the studio side because there's a lot less to look through on these. And I did want to say Candyman 4K, the new Candyman, it looks pretty damn good. There are a few things that were a little iffy on it for me, but it's pretty great. And I also think, yeah, I only have one modern movie that's in my best 4Ks. Everything else is all catalog titles. So going through quickly, Clockwork Orange. It's Kubrick. It looks great. It's 4K. Of course, it's going to look amazing. This movie is not in my top tier Kubrick, but this is a beautiful film nonetheless.
What is
the color
Kubrick?
Let's see. Probably. I mean, I'm horror, so Shining for sure for me. And then after that, it's probably. Oh gosh. I don't know why Eyes Wide Shut kind of clicked with me when I first saw it. I love that movie. Clockwork Orange. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, but I think it's like mid tier.
It doesn't have a bad movie.
Exactly. That's the hard thing. It's like Tarantino. Ranking them is it just gets difficult. It's like picking your favorite kid.
The Killing is mine. Matt pulled that up. I don't like noir. I love The Killing though.
The Thing 4K. Universal killed 4K. It looks incredible. The colors in this are amazing, but the big thing, everybody loves this movie because of the practical effects, and it is crazy the level of detail you can see in this. And not to mention, it still looks good, even though you can see all the detail. It's not one of those movies where because it's clear and the resolution is so high quality that, oh, now it looks fake and rubbery. No, this almost looks better because of that.
Really?
It is crazy how good the practical effects in this look. Next one. This one's not super old, but I'm calling this a not modern film, even though it's newer than 2000. Super 8. Super 8 is a great fucking movie, and this looks really good in 4K. I am blown away primarily with how good the train crash looked in this. It is astounding. Obviously, this is a very dark film with, of course, with who directed it. There's a whole bunch of lens flares. But yeah, this is great. Looks really good. Let's see. Boba Fett says suggestions on moving a huge collection. You have anything to say?
When I moved here, my vinyl collection was the biggest pain in the ass because that stuff was heavy. What I did was I just used milk crates and boxes from the restaurant and just stacked things by genre. So I had like my dubstep, my drum and bass, my garage, my grime, and did it that way. But I can when we do eventually get a house and then we move this, it's gonna be a pain.
Vinyl's different though because they're all the same height. My big suggestion with physical media for this, divide it by format. Make things that are the same height go together. So DVDs, obviously the case is taller than a Blu-ray, so you want to get the Blu-rays all together, the DVDs all together. Otherwise, stacking becomes a pain and then things start to get strained and cracked. Okay, my modern film, this got my number 2 4K. The colors in the 4K and the Green Knight are just immense. Dude, this looks incredible in 4K. This is one I really need to show my wife. I rewatched some of it at home, and it is, to be honest, it looked better than it did in my theater because my theater had a really bad bulb. So I was just stoked to be able to get this on 4K because it's A24, and you don't always get it. So glad we could do it. And my number 1 studio release in 4Ks for the year is probably not a surprise for anybody that follows the studio 4Ks. That is the Columbia Pictures Volume 2. I mean, obviously, it comes with a bunch of films. It's got Anatomy of a Murder, Oliver, Taxi Driver, Stripes, Sense and Sensibility, and The Social Network. And the big thing is that They are probably top tier 4K transfers compared to all the other studios. Sony is amazing, and I mean, Taxi Driver in here looks
That's
ridiculously
what I was
good.
about to ask you. How does Taxi Driver look?
Like probably the best in the entire box. Sense and Sensibility looks surprisingly good for the type of film that it is. Stripes is probably the worst in my opinion in the box, but Anatomy of a Murder also looks incredible. Social Network, it's more of a modern film, so it's not done in the way that it can look as good as the others. But
Are any of those available individually?
no.
God damn it! I really don't want the rest. I just want Taxi Driver.
The 4Ks from the first volume that they did, I think it was last year. Those are just starting to trickle out, and I think we only have 1 or 2 out of the 6. So,
oh wow,
it's not even a guarantee.
It'll be a while
if they all come out. Yeah.
So now we're doing boutiques, right?
Yes. Although Dave is asking, what are your thoughts on V for Vendetta and Jaws 4Ks? Jaws 4K is astounding. That film looks incredible in 4K. V for Vendetta is good. Well, I'd probably even say it's great, but it's because it's so modern, it's not quite as good as what it could be. And that could just be my personal bias on what I want my 4Ks to look like as well. But the coloring on that film is great.
My first pick is a movie that I don't think the transfer is as good as it could have been, but it's the best that we've ever had. So it had to make my list. It's one of my favorite movies, and that's Ron. Just watched this not that long ago. Some of the scenes really, really pop. But again, like I said, it does leave a little to be desired in some areas. But this is the best version. I think the Blu-ray was pretty notorious for looking rough.
Yep.
This is one of the best of the year.
It does look good though.
It looks really good.
Yep.
And this comes with the Blu-ray too. The new transfer is on the Blu-ray, and it's got a 3rd disc with special features. So if you don't own this, this is the one to get. This is the UK Studio Canal one. 4K is region free though, and I think the rest is region B locked, unfortunately.
And those have still been available through Orbit for like $28. And Bubba Fett said he's asking about my Columbia Classics. Will there be a volume 3? Absolutely, 100%. They sell incredibly well. I have no doubt. I do think that it will be until next fall that we get it, though.
Oh, and by the way, guys, my picks are in order from worst, not worst, but least
Same
favorite to favorite. So
same here.
What's your number 5?
My number 5 is probably going to be in your 5. My number 5 is Deadlock.
Ooh, this film, not in my 5.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
I don't adore spaghetti westerns. I'm not as big of a fan of them as Flip, obviously, but I think this looks really good for a fairly modern spaghetti western, done in a way that is engaging and makes me want to see it. I really sold this on my channel. I had a lot of people that were asking about it, and I said, if you want this, this is going to be a limited title, and once Vinegar Syndrome is sold out, it's not coming back. And it sold out very quickly during their sale. So I hope everybody that wanted it got it. But this is a great one. Really good story, too. Just my big issue, and you agreed, is with a lot of spaghetti westerns for me, that second act falls flat.
And that movie would have been number 6. It would have been, if we were doing a top 10. I think part of why the movie looks so good is its location. It was filmed in Israel, I think.
And Jeff is asking what year is it? It's in 1970. When I said modern, I meant it is set in a much more modern time than most.
Yeah, there's a car. Their weapons are a little bit more modernized, but the guns are really cool in that movie.
And that picture is genuine to what is in the film.
It's awesome.
It does look odd, but it's true.
Yeah. Oh, John pointed out, disappointing that Subculture only released 1. I was disappointed too when they were doing their partner labels. I was hoping that Subculture was going to do another one, but
and instead we got 2 more partner labels. Now we have 16 of them.
Oh my god! But it's such a good release, guys. I highly recommend it. My number 4 pick is, again, like my last pick. It's a movie that I think the transfer could have been better, but it is the best that we have of this movie, and that's The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Just fucking phenomenal. It's a classic movie, one of the best films of all time. It looks incredible. I've owned multiple copies of this movie. This is hands down the best that it has ever looked. I just wish it had HDR. That's my biggest gripe, but it looks great, and I highly recommend it. It comes with the Blu-ray as well, so if you don't have 4K, you can still get it. And the other two got announced for 4K.
Yes, sir.
So,
And those ones will also only be SDR.
Okay. All right.
Did you see they announced the Orson Welles film in 4K, and it's coming with 2 or 3 4K discs, and the MSRP on it, like not MSRP, but if you go to pre-order it through the Kino site, it's like $47 for one film for Kino.
That's too much for a Kino.
My number 4 is a horror double feature, and this came out both in the UK and the US, and that is Demons 1 and 2.
Oh.
This looks really good in 4K, and it is the identical transfer to Arrow.
That's not the Arrow one, right?
No, this is the Synapse one.
Okay.
No matter where you got it, it's going to look the same in 4K. The transfer is great. It's obviously a very dark film, considering where it takes place and what happens in the film. It looks stupendous. And for anybody that has not seen Demons, if you are looking to get into Italian horror at all, I have said multiple times this year, I think this is the perfect gateway Italian horror film. I think that it is a really, really good way to dive in and get your toes wet before you get into some of the weird ones, because Italian horror gets pretty wild.
Italian movies in general get really weird.
Yeah, this is genuinely amazing. And what's crazy is that this is number 4 with how good it looks. And yeah, I'll just say this is a crazy year. I also wanted to throw out, I did not choose any Blue Underground 4K releases because they are all amazing. They are out of this world, the best 4K transfers and releases from any boutique, and it was not possible to differentiate. And I was not going to have, I think Blue Underground had, 4 different 4K releases this year just from Blue Underground. They all could have been the top 4. That would not have been fair. So I just chose to say I'm going to eliminate them and highlight others. But I will say, if you are looking for great 4K transfers, the Final Countdown looks incredible in 4K. 2 Evil Eyes is one that never looked great, and this new 4K looks goddamn amazing. Maniac Cop 3 is the better Maniac Cop release, but both Maniac Cop 2 and 3 look incredible. If Blue Underground announces something in 4K, do not hesitate. They are top tier every single time.
That's what I keep hearing. You, Aaron Penn, you guys have been really singing the praises of Blue Underground. But my company this year, my favorite 4K company has been Arrow. They've killed it. My next 3 choices are all Arrow titles.
My next 2 are Arrow, and I'm willing to bet that we have the same 2.
Couple overlap. My number 3 favorite is Oldboy. This is the this is the Zavi Steelbook. They have a standard 4K release. This looks incredible. This is the first 4K release this year. Yeah, there it is. This is the first 4K release this year that has made me stop and go, holy shit, that looks incredible. I have seen this movie dozens of times, and I have never seen the color. Like, you forget that there's a lot of color in this movie. Because when you think of Oldboy, you think of, the hallway scene, you think about him locked in the room, but you forget that he's out in the city, and it is so vibrant and
neon,
amazing. And I think underrated, this film, a lot of people talk about Hong Kong movies and how they capture the city of Hong Kong, or people talk about like shows like Bosch, or the movie like Collateral or Drive that really capture LA. I think Oldboy does a good job of capturing Korea. It looks incredible. So This is hands down one of my favorite releases of the year. One of the best movies ever made. Park Chan-wook is a god, and I'm hoping they do the other 2, because my favorite of the 3 is Lady Vengeance. I would love to see that in 4K.
When I was talking about Blue Underground, I neglected to bring up Dead and Buried somehow, but Dead and Buried also looks incredible. My number 3 is also one that you commented on and said that it looks incredible. Also came from Arrow. True Romance looks amazeballs in 4K.
Number 2.
So let's both just talk about this now.
All right, let's do it.
If you've never seen True Romance, first off, amazing cast. This is like one of the best casted films of all time.
And not just best cast, but like any other actors playing certain roles, it would like Gary Oldman. Any other actor playing that role would have been cringe. But because it's Gary Oldman, he kills it. You have Christopher Walken playing a Sicilian. I'm Sicilian. I love it. It's so great. And then that whole exchange where he goes, "You're a cantaloupe," and he goes, "You're a," we don't even know. He goes, "You're an eggplant," and then Christopher Walken goes, "You're a cantaloupe." Like it's such a good movie. The cast is fucking great.
It really, and for those that don't know, Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Val Kilmer, Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, Christopher Walken, and that's just the top billed names. That's not even the secondary characters. Like, sincerely, and when I said casted, I meant that, not like one of the best cast, one of the best casted films. They live those roles. It is crazy how great that film is.
Taylor's not a big fan of crime movies, but we watched this let's say like maybe a month ago. She loved it, and I've had 2 other copies of this movie. This hands down the best it's ever looked. It's just, I love it. The grain looks so fucking good in this movie.
Absolutely,
I love it. I love grain. People who don't like grain, I don't know what's wrong with you. Quit watching Marvel movies. Watch something before the year 1990. Incredible. Just an absolute incredible movie. This is the problem with this movie though, is that there's like 40 different versions of this 4K release. You have a different copy than I do.
I do, yeah. I've got the limited steelbook, and when it's pulled out on the side, there is a book, there's poster, and then there's the actual steelbook here.
Yeah, mine's just the standard.
This is the cover of the steel and the back.
That's such a good steelbook.
It really is.
It's such a good steelbook. And then everything, all the extras are the same. He just has a steelbook with different art. Great release by Arrow, and my second favorite 4K of the year.
And my second favorite 4K of the year is Flip's first favorite 4K of the year, and that is Django.
How did you know? How did you know I was going to pick this?
So for everybody that doesn't know, Django is from 1966, and this looks like it was filmed in 1996. It is crazy how great this 4K looks. The coloring is really good, but where it really shines is the resolution. Like, you can pick out individual pebbles in front of the saloon in Django, and it is stupid how good it looks. There is now a standard version available, and I know that there is a history of controversy with this title, but it is well worth it. Django 4K at this point is 55 years old from when it was filmed, and this is amazing. For those that don't know, this is also a double bill, comes with 2 different films on here, but if you can get your hands on the limited, the book is maybe Arrow's my favorite book that Arrow's released with any release.
I think one of the box sets that we're going to talk about tonight has a better book, but for a single release,
yes, that's what I'm getting at.
This book is, I don't know if you guys can tell, this book is thick for a single release.
It's incredible.
Well, yeah, because it's all about the movie. I was going to say Battle Royale 4K had a nice book, but that was just a career retrospective of Kenji Fukusaka, which, by the way, Battle Royale is a great release. It's just, I don't think that movie benefited from a 4K like the rest of these titles do. But yes, this is my favorite spaghetti western of all time. This movie is incredible, and I'm glad that people are now starting to pay respect to it, because I think this is just as important as The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. Like, I think this is up there. One of the best movies of all time. Hilarious. And then you also get, Ryan's not a fan of it, but in this release you get Texas Adios on Blu-ray, and that's a nice little extra. I actually like that movie quite a bit, but it's not as good as this. And this spawned thousands of knockoffs. Like, almost any spaghetti western, especially in Germany, because Django is huge in Germany. Any spaghetti western that went over to Germany, got a German release, got Django in some way slapped on the title, even though it had nothing to do with Django. So, which I am working on a Django video where I'm going to show off the big 30 Django knockoffs.
And that's why I love that book, is because it goes into detail on a lot of the Django titles. And then the second half of the book, it goes into Sergio Corbucci. So
Who's the best?
it is a goddamn textbook, basically. There's so much that you can glean just from that little book. It is amazing.
And Sergio Corbucci, for me personally, is my favorite spaghetti western director. Just incredible, especially the unofficial trilogy that Django's a part of. Django, The Specialist, and The Great Silence. Amazing. What's your number one? Now I'm curious what your number one is.
My number one. Now, keep in mind, these are just best 4Ks of the year. These are not best movies. These are best 4Ks. And I would have to really sit down and think about it, but I think this may be the best 4K disc I've ever seen. And I kind of lied when I said that The Green Knight was the only modern film, because, well, I guess that was for studio. So this is a 2021 film, but it's also not really a film. This is Awaken from Gunpowder and Sky. And this is something that has been filmed over the last 5 years. And by the way, this is another Vinegar Syndrome partner label. The slipcover on this, really cool, deep lenticular action going on there. But this is the cover a lot of people recognize from seeing it on the site. This is from executive producers Terrence Malick and Godfrey Reggio. Narrated by Liv Tyler, comes a unique and timely film experience featuring immersive imagery, beautiful cultures, and an inspiring message. Awaken explores humanity's relationship with technology and the natural world. Shot over a 5-year period in more than 30 different countries, the film pioneers state-of-the-art time-lapse, time dilation, underwater, and aerial cinematography techniques to give audiences new eyes in which to see the world. And it is genuinely just eye candy. That is like the main point of this film, is to show you how beautiful the world can be. And goddamn, does it succeed. It looks incredible. There are shots looking up from under a tree, and it just shows the time lapse of the sky moving, revolving around it, basically, and it's gorgeous, absolutely amazing.
Never even heard of that.
There are scenes where there is a woman, I believe in Korea or Japan, it might be Japan, where she is walking amongst some bamboo. And they do this thing where they change it while she's taking a step and reaching for something, and it goes from color to black and white. And in the 4K, it fucking shines so much. It is beautiful. And then it goes back to color. Then they transition the scene, and she's standing in front of a little koi pond, and they do it again. And the detail that they get in the black and white is astounding. Like, genuinely, the way that they show the imagery in this is breathtaking. It was one of the hardest ones to watch and not rewatch immediately, just because it was that beautiful. It was art for art's sake.
Wow, I've never even heard of that.
Yeah,
but that has my interest.
This is literally what I would say is the definition of reference quality 4K.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna have to pick that up. Is that still available?
It is, I believe.
Okay, I'm gonna have to pick that up.
I will take a look. As
we have a couple of questions.
Yeah.
Jeff says, "What is the best non-Leone Van Cleef spaghetti?" I'm gonna say Ciabatta, the first Ciabatta, and Death Rides a Horse. And John says, "How dare you, Ryan? Where's Perdita Durango?"
If Flip lets me go into honorable mentions, I have a stack of like 20.
Oh, 20? Do 5.
Genuine. Oh God. Let me move this.
It's that.
So big. Since you shared on Old Boy, I won't talk on that. This is decent. Indiana Jones. I'm not going to talk about it. I did have Ron over here. Terminal Island from Vinegar Syndrome should not look this good. This movie is a damn good film, and it looks incredible on 4K. Really, really good. I'm going to hide this and count this as one still. Tix is also the same. Looks amazing. Should not look that good. Citizen Kane 4K from Criterion. Genuinely looks great, period. Criterion sucks, but it looks great.
Orson Welles, more like Orson's Well, I'm Going to Sleep, because that's a boring-ass movie.
I am going to combine 3 into 1 pick here.
What?
It'll make sense. Okay. So Severin did Blood for Dracula, Santa Sangre, and Perdita Durango. All three look goddamn amazing in 4K. Out of the three, Santa Sangre looks the best, but I think Blood for Dracula does the best with HDR and coloring. However, this is my favorite film of the three. So to make up for it, you just buy all three. It'll be a good day.
Just buy all three.
Last two, I promise. Soul in 4K genuinely looks amazing. The coloring in this is like perfect. Genuinely one of my favorites. And the last one, I will say, really surprising upgrade to 4K that I didn't think would be really good. Misery looks really good in 4K.
Who put that up?
Kino.
Huh.
Day of the Beast is also good, Ice. It is, I would say, not quite as good as Perdita Durango, but it is still really good. Well, I think Perdita Durango just does better with colors.
Flickering Wave says Santa Sangre would be his pick for 4K in 2021.
And I could see making an argument for that, but I think if people have not seen Awaken and what it looks like, I would say you have to take a look at that before you argue that.
And someone says, I would love to see you do a guide to Western Flip. That's my plan after I finish my guide to Shaw Brothers, which I'm going to film the second part this week. And then the third part, it's going to be over an hour because there's so many movies to talk about. How often does Ryan just destroy his movie budget? Me and him both.
First of all, just out of view, here's stuff. The stuff stacked up in front of the window is stuff I'm trying to get rid of.
Oh my god. I'm trying to sell a few things too because I went over budget. I forgot Beastmaster came out this year. That's right.
No, Beastmaster came out in 2020. The VSU that came out this year was Six String Samurai.
Yes, which I finally watched. No,
it's a wacky film.
I like weird shit, but that's. But you want to get into box sets?
I guess.
You guess.
I'm just kidding. 4K is just where I shine.
What is budgeting? Asked John. It's a thing that our wives probably make us do. Matt says, I hate selling. I hate selling as well. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I have 7 box sets here.
I have a grand total of 5.
I'll go through 2 real quick. My honorable mentions. I do want to say, when we do our final episode, all of these could change. When we do the top 15 of the year, which is going to be just an overall grouping. What is this wife? It's a very lovely woman named Taylor who puts up with me. And Ryan's got his own wife. Could you imagine if we were married to each other? You would get pizza.
Ooh.
Oh.
And you could finally reach the top shelf.
Hey, Taylor's taller than me, so I can already do that. But my 2 honorable mentions. My first one is I just want to talk about this box set because it's a great release.
There's another good one.
Ooh, yep. There's so many good box sets this year.
Yeah.
Now I'm hoping the Shaw Brothers set comes out before the 28th. I've been watching all of them, all the special features and everything. I've been watching the special features on the Arrow app. I'm going to save the movies for when I have the discs. But this box set right here, I think the packaging sucks. I think the movies included are some of the best movies ever made. They're incredible. This is art house done right. And that is The World of Wong Kar-wai. The worst packaging of the year. Look at this. Just to get the movies, you have to do origami, and then your movies are in a book. It's just a pain in the ass to do this every time. This is already falling apart. I kind of hate this release for the quality of the build, but the movies are great. Incredible films. This is not a complete Wong Kar-wai. This set's missing Ashes of Time, which is I think a Sony movie. Is there a good book? No. There's books about kung fu movies, but not like an individual book on Shaw Brothers. I was actually thinking of doing a book on the Venema, like writing a book on the Venema, which I would love to do. But this box set, the Wong Kar-wai set's missing Ashes of Time, the Grandmaster, which the Grandmaster is easily available. But Chungking Express, just an incredible box set. Well, incredible films in the box set. Let's. I gotta preface that because that build sucks. And then a box set that I just haven't had too much time with yet. But all the films I have seen, I love all these movies. That is the Imprint Zhang Yimou set and Gong Li. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but this nice little pops up. All the movies are in their own discs. The weirdest size box in my collection. It's a cube. It's the size of a GameCube.
It's massive.
All these movies are good. Every single one. Every single movie is great. So my favorite though is Curse of the Golden Flower. I would love if they did a second box set of his stuff and included Hero, included was it Shadow. So, but yeah, shout out to Imprint. This is my second release from them, and I'm just impressed.
What was your first release from them?
Scarface.
Ah, yeah.
I technically ordered this first. Scarface came much sooner because I got it from Orbit. But yeah, what is your number 5?
My number 5. Again, I will throw the caveat just in case people did not realize that this is how it's happened. I'm going to throw out some other things too. Like you just saw, I just got Deep Red. I just got the Fassbender Volume 1. I technically still have not got specific Arrow sets that I ordered months ago because I pre-ordered with stuff that still has not come in stock yet. So I'm very behind. Like I still don't even have I have Years of Lead. I don't have Vengeance Trails yet still.
Oh, and we did agree that a box set has to be one or two. It has to be 2 or more movies.
Correct.
So things like the Young Master with Jackie Chan by 88, that's a single, which will be next week's episode. So
yep. So my number 5 is actually more so up on the series itself, even though this is the 3rd one, and that's only because I love the work that they put into it. And that is Vinegar Syndrome's Forgotten Jolly Volume 3. This one has Autopsy, Murder Mansion, and Crazy Desires of a Murder. And I will say Autopsy is a load of fun. All 3 of their Forgotten Jollies have been great so far. And if you have not seen any of them, I mean, high quality everything. Even the lid is like stiff and high quality, but everything inside is held together really well. Nice big box set. There is good art on all these. If you get the limited set, it is a much better release. If you wait until the box has sold out, it is all crammed into one little case. So it is much better to shoot for the limited release. These are incredible. If you like Jolly, if you like Giallo at all, this is a really good place to start.
And speaking of really good places to start, this box set is an excellent introduction into a genre that seems like this year has been getting a lot of attention. That's the Eurocrime genre. This is Years of Lead. The 5 classic Italian crime thrillers from 1973 and 1977. The year is very specific because the Years of Lead was a real thing and it went on into the 80s. So I'm going to assume, and the SKU for this was Years of Lead 1. So I'm going to assume that Arrow's going to do one more box set. Arrow did a couple different things with box sets this year. This has the nice belly band with the movies, kind of a little akin to what Indicator does. But the movies that are included are Savage 3, Like Rabid Dogs, Colt 38 Special Squad, Highway Racer, and The Case is Happily Resolved. All movies are solid. I don't think they are the best Eurocrime movies, but this is such a good introduction. It gives you a little bit of everything that the genre has to offer. And it's a relatively cheap box set too. A little lacking on special features. The book is pretty nice, but overall, this is my 5th favorite box set of the year. Colt 38 Special Squad being my personal favorite of the 5 movies. So much so that before this got announced, there was a listing on eBay for that movie, and it was like $90. I've been almost purchasing it for like a year. And I didn't pull the trigger, thank God, because I got a really good release from Arrow.
My number 4 is the same as one that you just highlighted. It was going to be collaborations, but the only thing I want to add to everything you said is it did include a fairly short book, but at least there was one. There is some good write-ups in here, and not a lot of pictures, which I think in a lot of these books that is a failing of some of these companies.
Yes.
They hey, we have a 48-page booklet. You open it up and it's 32 pages.
Yeah, 32 pages of pictures.
You know what really pisses me off? The Once Upon a Time in China box set from Criterion. You open up their booklet, and I think it's 48 pages. 24 pages of it is fucking credits. Credits. I can go on IMDb and read the credits.
We'll talk about that. I do want to say the book that comes with this isn't even a fucking book. It's literally just not even like pictures of the movie. It's like someone was doing like a collage of scenes from all the movies, and it looks like shit.
I just got that one in genuinely this last weekend.
Save it. It's fine, but save it. Another introduction to a genre. Wait, were you done with number 4? It was the
absolutely. You talked about it, so
okay.
Yeah.
A nice introduction into a genre, and that is the Vengeance Trails. I love that Arrow did. They took 2 genres and did nice quality box sets for them. This includes, again, all these got put out by Wild East. We're talking about them earlier. My Name is Pecos, and God Said to Cain, Banditos, and Massacre Time. Banditos, all these movies are great. Pecos was my least favorite, but it's still great. It's got a nice book in here with a new essay on each movie. And it's got some really good commentaries as well. My second favorite commentary of the year is on this, which was Banditos. I think it was Kat Allinger is who did the commentary. Let me double check real quick. Should have had this ready to go. Yep, Kat Allinger. I was right. All these movies are great. Out of all the box sets here, this one has not a bad movie in it. So this is my number 4. Absolutely love this release. And also, Massacre Time has been sought after for years.
Yep. And
it looks great. It's very violent. My favorite is In God Said to Cain. And Nerd says right here, In God Said to Cain is a horror movie. It's great. We will be talking about that in just a little bit. So what's your number 3, right? 3?
My number 3, yes. And again, I've kind of already talked about this one tonight, so I don't really want to go into a whole lot of detail, but my number 3 is surprisingly a studio pick, and that is Columbia Classics Volume 2, but I wanted to show why. This thing, for a studio pick, is fucking incredible the way it's built. So first off, this opens, and you can display everything with the Columbia logo here. This is okay. It's unwieldy. Inside the top, behind the Columbia logo, there is not just a book, but
hardbound book.
A book, a hardbound. Whoops! I still have yet to read.
Whoa!
Everything is falling. I still have yet to redeem my digital, so I dropped it. So this has genuinely just stockpiles of information, good old stuff being worked on, photos, really good information on each of the movies, and then each of the films. This is rough to put back in there when you're doing it backwards. Each of the films come housed in a stylized slipcover in its own 4K case, and for a studio release, that is shockingly high quality. And
that looks incredible.
For everything you get in here, and in a lot of situations, you can find this on sale for $100 even. That's pretty great for 6 films and everything, and it comes with digital copies of all 6. This is a magical set.
That's awesome. That's a beautiful box. I didn't realize that it folded out like that.
Yeah, it is stupendous.
A box set that's not so stupendous, and it's my number 3. I'm picking this because it's nice to finally have a consolidated box set of these films. Like everything Criterion puts out nowadays, I have issues with this set. I think the build quality is, I mean, I don't know if you can tell, mine's not shutting already. There's a little gap right there, and it's a little bit messed up. But that is the Once Upon a Time in China set. I love these movies. They're about a guy named Wang Fei Hung, who is a real martial artist. What he really accomplished in his life has been highly exaggerated, massively so. Wang Fei Hung is the guy behind the Drunken Master movies. Like there's been hundreds of movies about this guy. This is finally we have a box set with all 5 movies. The Eureka set only had the 3. But recently, before I made this list, it came out that the Eureka encoding and subtitles are better than this Criterion release. Someone did a side-by-side. The Eureka release is more exact, accurate what they were saying. This one, similar to what they did with the Lone Wolf and Cub series, and I think it works better with Lone Wolf and Cub, is that they didn't directly one-to-one translate everything. They kind of made it more natural for English speakers to follow. And they did it here, but they also cut some important, context.
It changes the meaning.
Yes. That it's just, I'm really happy to just have everything. The extras are great, but like you were saying, this book sucks. It really, truly sucks. I don't think Arrow has put out a genuinely great box set since Lone Wolf.
Criterion.
Oh, sorry, Criterion. Sorry, Criterion hasn't put out a great box set since Lone Wolf and Cub, in my opinion. But yeah, I love these films. I think this is, and also the price. I mean, I sound like I'm harping. I love this release, but it's just like I wish they put more effort. I wish this was hardbound. It's not. It's really flimsy cardboard. But the artwork, whoever did the artwork, did an absolute incredible job. Mine doesn't even want to come out of the case anymore. So there we go. The artwork
It looks great.
Incredible. Just absolutely beautiful. And since we have this open, we can talk about that book, that amazing book. Look at this. He's not lying. It's literally just pictures, credit, and then you get into the essays. But it's literally the first
half of the book.
Exactly where the staples open up. The first half of the book is nothing but credits. Like, we needed that. So, yeah, this is my number 3 favorite box set. Fantastic.
As you shit on it. I love it. All right. So my number 2. This is the volume 1 in what I hope becomes an incredibly successful series for a little-known label that I've never talked about in my life called Vinegar Syndrome.
I've never heard of them.
Called Homegrown Horrors Volume 1. I love low-budget regional horror, and this is like a buffet of not great films that is so great to consume and get home and feel like trash because of what you just ate. And that's kind of like the exact definition of what these are. In here, we have Fatal Exam, Beyond Dream's Door, and Winter Beast. Winter Beast is this art on the side here is referring to that. Winter Beast is probably the funnest film, but the best film is probably Beyond Dream's Door. This box set is really good, and I do believe we are confirmed to have a second set coming out here soon in the next year, and it is great. Regional horror has been doing really, really, really well. Arrow did the what are they called? The American Horror Project Volume 1 and 2. They did the Bill Rebane set. They did they did another one too, right? Oh yeah, he came from the swamp. William Greffy. Yeah. So yes, the Homegrown Horrors is regional horror films. They're all low budget, no budget regional horror, and they're fantastic. If you go into it expecting art house cinema, you're gonna fucking hate it. But it is really good, trashy. Let's spend a Tuesday night having a substance and enjoying some films. and they're so much fun.
By substance, he means caffeine, kids. Stay in school.
Sardis just watched the stuff. What do you think? I love the stuff. I am stoked to see if we ever see that extended footage they just found on that.
And Sardis also said, I love the fighting on the ladders choreography in the first film. Fantastic stuff. The fight choreography, I mean, these are the movies that put Jet Li on the map. So, in the West at least. So, my number 2 is my favorite Arrow box set of the year. Shaw Brothers has not come out yet. Hopefully, it comes out before the end of the year. But that is the Daimajin Trilogy box set. This box set, I don't know if you guys can tell, the artwork by Matt Frank is absolutely incredible. This right here at the top opens up. Movies on their own discs and nice, incredible book. I think Arrow's best book on a series of movies. These films are really hard to classify because they're not exactly kaiju movies in the typical sense of when you say kaiju. Because when you say kaiju, you think of Godzilla, you think of Gamera, which they did last year. These are Jedi Ekis or period pieces that just happen to have a giant god who comes and fucks shit up, and they're so much fun. And the guys who directed these movies, the standout, the one I love the most, Kinji Mizumi, directed 4 out of the 6 Wolf and Cub movies. He has also directed a handful of Zatoichi films. His film, which I believe is the 3rd one, is just so much fun. All of these directors were working on period piece films, and it looks like I think Daiei just kind of grabbed them and was like, "Hey, we want to make a kaiju movie set in this period piece. We have all these sets, we have all these costumes already produced. Let's do something new." And the special effects, because all these came out in 1966, I believe. The sets look incredible. The practical effects are insane. There's a part where there's some guys on a watchtower, and he's right there. The monster's right there, or the god is right there, and it looks so real. It's amazing. Special features are mind blowing. Very similar to the Shaw set. Arrow put everything up on the Arrow player about a month before it came out, and I binge watched those special features. Kim Newman does some really good stuff on this set, so
Absolutely.
Highly recommend Daimajin. If you can find it, it's out of print now.
Have you seen Willy's Wonderland that Dave brought up here?
No, I have not.
Willy's Wonderland is another brand new Nick Cage film, and it's the one of him and the Chuck E. Cheese, basically.
That looks awesome.
He has no dialogue in the entire film.
Why?
Not a single. It was a choice.
Okay. A weird choice.
Yes, it is. It is a batshit film. So my number 1 is you know how I cheat on here. My number 1 is kind of a company, and I will say I am stoked on the uprising that is coming from the company that I'm wearing the shirt for. 7 films. So Andy Milligan box set, Christopher Lee box set are the big ones from this year. Obviously, we have a full core box set that is just now starting to ship. We've already talked about that tonight. Beyond that, recently we got the Al Adamson box set. We also got the Lindsay Baker box set. Those were both. What's that?
The Nun box set from them.
Yep, that's about to ship as well. Adamson and Lindsay Baker are both last year, but the big thing is that they are putting out like deep cut films on random things like this. And this Christopher Lee set, it has 5 classic European films and his Polish TV anthology series, which obviously you could never find that anywhere else before this, because why would you? And then it's also got a bonus disc of rare interviews and a photo-packed book and a soundtrack CD. And then with things like the Milligan set, first of all, they have an incredible book in here. This thing, we're talking about good books. You see the print on there? It is small and jam-packed, and pictures. Look at that entire page here. There's so much information in this book. But then...
Hello, Eric, our good friend.
What's going on, Eric? This is like all of the surviving Milligan films.
Is that what he looks like? Is that what Milligan looked like at his old age?
Yeah.
Huh, he looks like what I would think he would look like.
This is everything from Milligan that we can get elements for. Literally.
Wow.
This is his entire life's work that is surviving. There are a few other films, and the I believe there was a flood that we lost some elements for Milligan, but genuinely, the fact that they're able to do that, they did it for the Adamson set. That is a
Adamson set was insane.
A full career retrospective set with a brand new full length documentary. The documentary was incredible.
Anything in the movie, that documentary was better than anything in the set.
Yep,
just it's so good.
Ice is saying, how good is the stuff in the Lee set? It is surprisingly good. It's not all great, but the biggest thing is it's stuff that most people had never seen before. And huge fans of Christopher Lee will be able to eat that up. And I've always loved Christopher Lee. So there's so much in there that you can just discover. And that is the biggest thing. And for somebody, I don't think I'd ever seen an Adamson film before I bought the box set. And it's so crazy to get that and dive through everything.
I unfortunately watched all those movies in a month.
How are you alive?
I for real though. Here's the thing. I'm so impressed by the level of detail and quality that Severin put, and I'm saying this with love, into absolute garbage. Because I liked the Al Adamson set. The packaging, the presentation was great. The multiple cuts of the movies, everything is cool. The documentary is great. But all those movies sucked.
Right. And the important part about a lot of this, and, people that have watched my channel and heard me talk on here before, a lot of the stuff I go into this is approaching a lot of this literally like film school, and not in the way of learning how to create it, but studying the history behind it. And something like Adamson, unfortunately, without Adamson, we would not have like most of our exploitation films. We would not have a lot of our creature features. We wouldn't have a lot of the random drive-in cinema that happened from the mid 70s through the early 80s. It just would not exist. And the crazy thing, just like Matt just said, he made films to make money. Matt and I actually talked about exploitation yesterday on this. You see all these exploitation films, and they each have this crazy like finger of exploitation. We have nunsploitation, blaxploitation, hicksploitation, hagsploitation. Hagsploitation? Old ladies, old granny movies. There's like
for that.
Yeah, oh yeah. There was a period of time where hagsploitation films were super, super popular. Like Mother's Day came out of hagsploitation.
Huh.
There is so much, and the fact that we could see roots of some of these incredible historical films in stuff like Adamson, and see that a lot of these people, they knew each other, they conversed, they learned from. Adamson had Gary Graver working with him. I mean, some of the names on some of this is crazy. So if you go into this trying to learn about cinema and see, if you love something modern like The Green Knight, see how we got from Adamson to The Green Knight. And I know that's a shocking, weird.
Like Kevin Bacon of exploitation movies?
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, I also think the Al Adamson set is, and I want to talk about it because it kind of ties into what my number one pick is as well, because it's like the Al Adamson set of my favorite genre,
Hong Kong.
The Al Adamson set seemed like a test. We're gonna put this out, see how it does. It's sold out, and I don't think without that box set we wouldn't have the William Greffy set, we wouldn't have the Bill Burbane set, and we wouldn't have the Andy Milligan set. Like that box set seemed like, hey, let's get these directors who are lesser known and don't necessarily put out the best of work, and let's do like a whole box set worth of their stuff. And my number one pick is the Kung Fu version of that. It really is. I don't think people understand like how, this is literally a good comparison. This is the Al Adamson set of Kung Fu, and that's Cinematic Vengeance, the films of Joseph Kuo. These are 8 movies. It's not his entire film. It's not his entire filmography. I believe he directed 30-ish movies. A lot of them he self-produced. But yeah, these are, when you think of Kung Fu movies, a lot of us go to Shaw Brothers, Golden Harvest. Those were like the Hollywood of Asia. These are like the Italy of Asia. These are the low-budget spaghetti Western versions of Kung Fu movies. when this got announced, the first thing I said to Ryan was, "This is the Al Adamson box set of kung fu movies," because these movies aren't well known. Joseph Quo is not a household name. He never worked with Jet Li, never worked with Jackie Chan, not even Jimmy Wang Yu, who's a lesser known star. These movies were made on a shoestring budget, and when you watch them, you can see where the wigs are put on. You can see the bad makeup. His most famous movie is not even in this box set, which is Mystery of Chess Boxing. But you get 7 Grandmasters, 36 Deadly Styles, World of Drunken Master, Old Master, Shaolin Kung Fu, the Shaolin Kids, 18 Bronzemen, and the Return of 18 Bronzemen. You get an incredible book by Eureka. You get some nice lobby cards. And what Eureka did, what I really like about this movie, and similar to the Al Adamson and Andy Milligan set, some discs were like double features. So they actually paired this up by theme. So one of them is called Fearless Shaolin, and it's all the movies that are based on Shaolin. And then you get the Deadly Masters, and they're all movies that are based on Deadly Masters. And each disc is a double feature. So you get the 7 Grandmasters and then 36 Deadly Styles. And then you get my least favorite disc of the entire set, World of Drunken Master and the Old Master. Those 2 movies are terrible. But the rest are a lot of fun. And I heard a rumor that there is going to be a Joseph Quo box set volume 2. I really hope so, because he has some really good movies that I've only ever seen terrible quality bootleg VHS of them. He directed 2 movies for Shaw that seemed to be kind of lost to time. And Video Store Review saying he really loved a Dennis Yu set. But this box set, man, I really hope it does well for Eureka. Eureka doesn't put out a lot of box sets. And I'm blown away by the quality. It's passes the knock test. It looks incredible. I watched kung fu films in the Philippines back in 1974 in Chinese with Tagala subs. Had the time of my life. People fighting with axes in their backs and other incredible things. Sardis, I didn't know that you were Filipino. My best friend is Filipino. Actually, funny story. My best friend Ryan, who's Filipino, he would bring us balut. Have you ever had balut, Ryan?
Hell no.
It's awful. But they kept bringing us like weird food, and then they had a like a cookout with the family, and they roasted a whole pig, and they brought us the head. So we're busy at the restaurant, and here comes like 10 Filipinos. They walk in, they give us the head of a pig, and we're like, we're gonna take this in the back in front of everybody. And we ate the cheekbone. We ate the cheek meat, which is incredible. The tongue, the eyes. It was all really good. Filipinos rock. But this box set is, guys, go get this. This is incredible. One of the best releases of the year. It's Region B locked. But if you don't have a Region free player and you're collecting physical media in 2021, you're kind of a dummy.
Or go the other route, which I've been trying to tell a lot of people lately. Go on Amazon.co.uk and buy a Region B Blu-ray player and have them both hooked up. You don't have to switch back and forth.
Yeah. I love this set. I cannot understate how much fun it is. And it's like, even the movies I hate are just fun. And you can tell, very similar to Adamson, that Quo was kind of capitalizing on what was popular in the Asian market. So, you get the Drunken Master. He makes the World of Drunken Master. He makes the Old Master, 2 knockoffs. And then pretty much any Shaolin movie was made during the Shaolin cycle over at Shaw. So it's just such a fun box set. The special features are incredible. Eureka is easily one of my favorite, if not my favorite, labels of the year. Highly recommend it.
So I would be, first off, Sardis was continuing. Balut stinks. They sold it on buses while you were traveling. I love the lumpia, though. My wife is very white, but her aunt is Filipino, and we make lumpia all the time. Love lumpia.
Filipino food's delicious as fuck.
It really is.
I think that's an underrated food. Isn't there a fast food place called Joblies or Jubilees? There's a Filipino fast food chain that has a couple places here in the States. I think it's Joblies. It looks good.
Oh, I think I've heard of it. I think I've seen the name written out. I've called it Jolly Bees in my head. Yeah, I've never seen
it. Maybe it is Jolly Bees.
I've never actually seen one in person.
I've never been either, but I want to go.
So like I was going to say, I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up some of these other things that came out this year. So we got the reissue of the Sinbad trilogy from Indicator. If you don't have that, it is a lot cheaper now. The original has even dropped in value. It is a good one to get. For the other Arrow stuff, we have Children of the Corn trilogy. The first one is in 4K. The next two are terrible films, but hey, they're there. Cold War Creatures is a really important box set from Arrow. One that is really well made. I just have not been able to dive into it enough.
The packaging on that set. The artwork's great.
Yep.
I do want to highlight this comment. Frank Jang, commentator of the year. I got to agree. Every single Eureka release, I think, Asian release at least, has had Frank Jang commentate on it. And he is, I can't understate how much knowledge he brings. And he lived in Hong Kong. So, like, you'll be watching a movie and he's, like, pointing out places that he's been. He's pointing out stuff. It's just incredible. He is a walking encyclopedia. And for when watching interviews with him, the way he does it is like he gets books out, magazines, newspapers, and he creates his timeline. But at the same time, he doesn't sound pretentious. He doesn't sound overly scholarly. He's that perfect blend that I always say of fun and knowledge. And Frank Jang absolutely kills it. I think he does a commentary on every single one of these movies almost. He does one with I can't think of the guy's name. He's an actor, but he runs Pearl River Collection. So it's the guy behind that company. I think they do it for Seven Grandmasters. Fucking great commentary track. So
I will throw out there still for exploitation, especially and on the horror side, Kat Ellinger, Sam Deegan are both incredibly knowledgeable. We also have Troy Howarth, who has not done as many commentaries as he has in the past this year, but he is still doing some. And then Kim Newman. Kim Newman knows so much about every goddamn genre.
Dude, every time I see him attached to something, it's to something complete opposite, like wildly opposite genre. Kim Newman is awesome. But I also want to highlight Alex Cox. Every Western release from Kino feels like it has an Alex Cox commentary, which I have two right here. They're sealed. They're brand new. I'm going to see. He's not on either of these, actually.
What a failed experiment.
I have another Kino release. There we go. Alex Cox is on this one. But yeah, he is on literally what feels like every new Kino release. Alex Cox is the white version of Frank Jang. Just fucking awesome. And this is the thing that separates, I think, the labels that we tend to kind of gravitate towards, that separates them from places like Criterion, is that I feel like these people are fans first.
Oh yeah.
And then seeked out the knowledge. And I feel like it's really hard to do a good commentary, because there are commentators that are too pretentious and scholarly, and then there's commentators that are too boring, or those commentators that don't even talk about the movie, and they're just going off, talking about random things. But all those guys that we mentioned, Kim Newman, Kat Allinger, Alex Cox, Frank Jang,
Sam Deegan,
Troy
Howarth, and then the last one I wanted to bring up, he does a lot of the sleazier stuff. Nathaniel Thompson, he knows so much stuff about the old Italian sleaze and all that. And Nathaniel Thompson is great. But Dustin, surprisingly, brought up the next box set that I was going to remind everybody on. Go ahead.
I do want to highlight two commentators that are on a lot of Eureka stuff as well. Mike Leader and Arnie Vinma. They call themselves action movie experts. They're a ton of fun to listen to. They have great chemistry going back and forth. I just wanted to throw that out there.
So volume 2 of Toshiaki Toyota came from Third Window Films. And then,
it's on the Arrow player.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, the nice. Resurrection Trilogy specifically is on the Arrow player.
Indicator, as usual, killed it in box sets this year. They've got all the Columbia Noir sets they put out. They also have the Mae West box set coming out. I think they did one more this year, other than I think Hammer Volume 6 came out this year as well.
Yep.
Beyond that, one that you brought up before, the Basher box, that came out this year.
So this is where it's not in a box. So when we do our singles, that's on my list. Same with the Sabata trilogy. That's a single, just a normal Blu-ray case. But I do want to highlight the Basher box. That company needs more support, guys.
Absolutely.
They're putting out, even like, if this is B tier, the movies that they're putting out are C tier, super unknown kung fu movies. You got The Leg Fighter, you got Bruce's Deadly Fingers, you got the Basher box, and then there's one more release that I'm missing. It's on the tip of my tongue. But the releases are great. They're great commentary, great, as good of a transfer as you could possibly get for some of these movies, because they are very old, very lost to time. Asian cinema did not take care of their masters at all. And as you get, as you move away from Hong Kong, you go to Taiwan, and you kind of get lower on the, the amount of budget these films had. The chances of those transfers surviving are low. They announced before the Basher box that their next release was going to be Duel of the Seven Tigers. It's a movie I really want to see. It's a Seven Samurai ripoff. But there has been no update on anything that they've done since like July, which is a little disheartening. Because they're great, an absolute amazing company.
Speaking of things that are box sets that are not in a box, the Franco Noir set from Severin is really great. Beyond that, one company that we obviously both highlighted with the collaboration set, but Imprint really deserves a whole lot of love for box sets, and for some interesting reasons. For some people that have not heard of some of these titles, you don't think to really look into them, but they have things like the Browning version, or the Harry Palmer collection with Michael Caine. And they are groups of films that were done for different eras for either the same character or franchise or something like that. And they're bringing them together literally for the first time to get good releases. But Imprint also put out like the Hammer Horror box set this year. They put out their Silver Scream set. They put out... let's see. Recently, they also did. The Essential Film Noir Collection #2. They have done so much, and it is just going to keep coming. Imprint is killing it internationally. Even they have made quite a name for themselves. They've put out a lot of Paramount films that did not get releases before Imprint, and that's a big deal. And not all of them are in the States yet, so it's certainly worth it. Yokai Monsters also came out this year.
Yep.
Wanted to throw in some of the 88 films. Urban Legends, the trilogy, came out this year, which brought to Blu-ray the third one for the first time ever. We got the Weird Wisconsin set from Arrow. We got random studio ones. We got the Indiana Jones box set that I showed. We got the Underworld in 4K collection. There are so many incredible box sets that came out this year. It is such a hard year to judge everything together.
Last year, when we did the end of the year wrap up, it was me, Aaron Pinn, and Just the Discs. We said there's no way that 2021 is going to top 2020. 2021 has been insane.
Yeah.
And then 2022, for me at least, as a Hong Kong cinema fan, is going to be even crazier.
Primetime Panic from Fun City. The Televised Terrors from Vinegar Syndrome. There are so many. It is hard to even get all of them on the list.
I mean, I think it's going to be even. I think next week's episode is going to be even harder. For those of you who don't know, our schedule is we're doing best singles next week, and then we're doing best favorite labels the week after. And then the week after, the final week, and next week, by the way, Asian Movie Enthusiast is joining us. The week after, the 28th, we're doing our big best of overall, where we're going to rank them.
Best physical media releases.
Yeah, best physical media releases. And this has just been such a tough year. I mean, even just doing the box sets, I had to be like, what am I going to include? The singles is going to be the toughest one for me, because there's just been so much, like 88 films, Eureka, Arrow, Kino even. Kino really stepped up, I think, the quality of the releases. They're starting to put slipcovers on a lot of stuff now. It's just been a fucking fantastic year.
The big thing about Kino that I want to point out is a lot of people forget this. Just 2.5 years ago, they pretty much put every Blu-ray out bare bones. And now we have major titles coming with full discs of special features.
Yep.
Pretty much everything is getting a commentary, which Criterion can't say that anymore. And Kino, in my opinion, have leapfrogged from about a C tier to a high B or low A tier label.
I would give him a B plus. I mean, not everything is getting a slipcover this year. It's very strange what gets a slipcover from Kino.
Yep.
Well, like I have 3 sitting right here. I mean, you got Breakheart Pass, you got Shadow's Land, and you got Coogan's Bluff. All got nice slipcovers, special features. Like, I mean, the Coogan's Bluff one, it's got commentary by Alex Cox, another commentary by Sledgehammer creator Alan Spencer, interviews with actors, radio spot, poster and image gallery, like
so much.
They're really stepping it up. I mean, I'm gonna see if there's special features on the Good, the Bad, the Ugly set, but yeah, there's their Good, the Bad, Ugly set has audio commentary by film historian Tim Lucas, Leonie's West, the making of documentary. You got 2-part documentary on Ennio Morricone. You got a Leone Style, Sergio Leone featurette, The Man Who Lost the Civil War documentary, deleted scenes, just fucking incredible on that release. Also, I want to give, they have the best, whoever runs their social media is the sassiest motherfucker on the planet. That guy is kind of mean at times. I'm like,
oh yeah,
damn, bro, calm down. Also, let's see. Be sure to pick up Kino's Ghost of Sierra de Cobre, Martin Landau from 1964. Ghost Stories Ever.
Wow.
This is what I love about YouTube is that you'll get a comment like this, and you're like, never heard of it. Top 5 ghost stories ever.
With some of the hardest hitting titles ever in the genre.
That's what I love, you weirdos, because I'm weird for other things, but you guys, like, it's just, and I mean that with love, because Ryan's a weirdo. I would say Ryan's a weirdo for horror movies. I'm a weirdo for martial arts, cinema, and spaghetti westerns. And yeah, Kino has an insane number of good titles. Like, it's also kind of easy to have an insane number of good titles when you are putting everything out under the sun. They're just like, every month, it's like, what, 15 releases or something?
It is rare that a day goes by that I don't have a Kino announcement on my page.
Yeah, they're always announcing stuff. And I like that they kind of like group, for a while there, they're doing, I think, like James Stewart movies. Now they seem to be moving in the Charles Bronson movies. And especially his Westerns. I love Bronson. I think Bronson's awesome. But yeah, I love what Kino's doing. So
it's a good thing in a couple weeks we get to talk about labels.
Yes. Are we doing the top 3?
We're probably gonna end up doing more. We'll figure that out.
How many labels are there?
How many? I have.
I'm just kidding. I know. I have watched your video series, which, by the way, if you guys haven't watched that, he has done a fucking fantastic series on the labels that he collects, and just awesome. And there's a lot.
I still got a couple more to do. Yeah,
still got a couple more to do. Probably like what, 30 more labels to do.
I meant a couple more videos. The funny thing is, one of them is literally just going to be Vinegar Syndrome and the partner labels, and that alone is 17 labels.
Damn.
Yeah.
King Dingling says, well, that hard target, every company has had issues this year, except for, I think, Eureka and 88 have not. So I don't think they've had any issues.
That we know of.
That's true. But yeah, I mean, it's a minor audio problem. I'm not too worried about it. I am going to hold off though. But hey, 1 or 2 problems out of like the 3,000 titles that they put out this year. That's not too bad. We have 40 people in here, Ryan. Can you believe that? 40 people. That's awesome. Hello to everybody. I want you to join the labels, get some lesser known stuff. think he's talking to me with that because I don't really branch out. I got to head to bed, guys. Looking forward to next week. Matt, you take care, brother. Why do companies have these issues? Do you want to get into this, Ryan?
Yeah, we actually were just talking about this before we went live too. And King Dingling really nailed it here. Is where's the QC at for these companies? The biggest thing is that it is really hard to QC titles remotely, properly. And with COVID, and not going to get into a lot of that because there are still a lot of people saying that's not an excuse, which doesn't make any sense when there are literally people dying. I had somebody close to my family die just in the last 2 weeks.
I mean,
so
I have a cousin right now in an ER bed with COVID.
So it is really difficult to catch things when you are working remotely. When you're working at a label, they have rooms to QC where they've got different players, where they've got different TV setups, where they're able to have multiple sets of eyes on titles. And honestly, there's still no real excuse for these. They should be caught for most of them. But at the same time, it's a really difficult time. And physical media is on the rise and has been since middle of 2019. And COVID just made it bigger. More people are staying home and watching physical media right now. So they are selling more than ever. And because of that, people are feeling pressure to put out more of these titles on their labels. So Shout Factory is probably the one that everybody beats on the most, either Shout Factory or Arrow. They both have had a handful of issues over the last couple of years. And some of them are pretty bad. I got to admit, like the subtitles on Brotherhood of the Wolf from Scream Factory.
Yes,
is
got mine right there. So
they are god awful. But at the same time, it didn't really bother me. It didn't really
bother you because Monica Bellucci's in that movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. Also, I want to, as a person who used to run a record label, and when we did QC for the record label, you would get 5 to 10 test pressings, and they would say, "Hey," I'm sure it's the same with Blu-rays. Hey, make sure you listen to every single one front and back, because if there is an issue on a single one of the test pressings, it has the potential to fuck up the entire run. So not only would I listen to them, then I would give it to a friend who has a better setup, and he would listen to them. And we've caught a few issues here and there. With Blu-rays, I would even say it's more of a pain in the butt to do QC on, because you have to test different Blu-ray players, because a record is just, they're playing the sound waves. With a Blu-ray player, with the Blu-rays, each player is going to play something different. It seems to be a lot of these problems are coming from consoles, people who are playing these on PlayStations or Xboxes. It seems to be a big part of it, because I don't think those consoles are a good dedicated 4K platform, but people use them because they are the cheapest, or not the cheapest, but they are, they're the more, it makes the most sense. Get a game player that has 4K on it. It's not an issue until companies ignore the mistakes and don't. I agree. But the only company I can really think of that didn't issue apologies right away was Kino?
Kino has done some worse things. They flat out said, "You are wrong," when people were reporting things to them. The biggest example of that is Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia. And eventually they did issue a replacement for that. But there are lots of situations where these labels have just flat out ignored people about things. The biggest example, which King Dingling brought it up here, I guess the big that it comes down to is make it right for the customer. Don't pull a Bill Olsen. And I've kind of shat on him on my live show on Thursday for the last couple months. But Code Red is awful. And that includes Dark Force. That includes a lot of the things that come along when you're dealing with Code Red. And unfortunately, if you are not allowed to, hear feedback from the label after you report things, there's nothing else you can do, really. And it's not like they have a great reputation.
Also, why is Kino partnered with them?
The big thing is money, I'm sure. Kino is making money distributing for them. And it's not like they're new titles. They have exclusive rights to certain things that'll sell well. So why not?
I like how our audience is kind of ripping into Films at Home. Hey guys, it's Films at Home here with the review. I'm going to read this thing I read on the Blu-ray.com forum verbatim. Yeah, I mean the QC stuff is rough. It really is. It's a lot of work. But some of these issues are like kind of big issues that people
Right.
they kind of go overlooked, especially like the Donnie Darko disc.
That is
That was
probably the
one, I
biggest.
think.
That and actually, we just spoke on it for a long time. The Al Adamson set had a film or a full disc that came as a dud. It wouldn't work in any player. It was just a dead disc.
It isn't a proper live stream without Dark Force getting shit on. It's our favorite. It's our favorite toilet.
Yeah.
How do you feel about films at home?
Probably not something I would say publicly.
I fucking hate him. I don't give a shit. What's he gonna do? Just I hate people. I hate people that like fake knowledge. Like just say like you don't know something. Like just say, hey, here's the bullet points that I read from a website. Like,
well, and I will just say that is like the whole reason I made my actual YouTube channel to begin with. Is I got tired of following these channels that shared educational content sometimes, and half of the info was wrong. And that's why a lot of my stuff that I've put out has tried to be just sharing the information about some of these things that the general public doesn't know about.
I also got to say, though, I'm not just saying this because you're my friend. I'm saying this because it's true. Your live streams are the most fun out of any of these channels. I love Aaron a lot, but you're fucking funny. You're extremely knowledgeable about the shit that you know about. And the way that you interact with your audience, it's just like a bro hanging out with his buds, for an hour or two. And I listen to every single one. Even sometimes I'm not like really interacting. You're in my pocket. You're in my headphones. I am listening along, and I don't care about 99% of the shit that you're covering because it's not my taste. But I love you as a personality so much that you make it entertaining. So, and fuck you, Bubba, for saying that I sound like Films at Home. So. Got a bit of disconnected on your lip, Flip.
It's not the first time.
Not the first. It won't be the last either.
My cheeks are always red, I promise.
I don't know. They got really red there.
The big thing is because while you were speaking, I got a pop-up that said, this laptop will shut down momentarily. When I pulled on the computer earlier, it unplugged the charger and my battery shit on this laptop. So I had to plug it in real fast. I was so worried. I was like, he's gonna be saying good things and then the stream's gonna end.
I'll just be stuck. Actually, I think it'll just leave me in here.
Yeah, it would.
Oh man, that would be weird. I'd be like, all right, guys, well,
Ryan died. Have a good night.
Ryan's dead. But yeah, this what were we even talking about? Oh, disc problems. King Dingling says the Dune disc had issues. But also, Dune's a bad movie. Why are people buying that?
There's a lot of history with that.
I'm kidding. That's
well, it is mostly a bad movie. But the big thing with Dune, I'm still pissed off. From what I'm hearing about that missing documentary, is that was all Arrow's fault. They tried to put a deadline on them instead of extending something that they should have, and we could have had a full length documentary on that disc that we're not getting now.
Speaking of people I don't like, we have Jeremy Long in the Rosy Cheeks Ryan. That's what I call him.
I love Jeremy so much.
I love him too, dude. He's so funny. He's just like, he's always with famous people smiling. I saw him on stream a couple of weeks ago with Artie Lang, and it was fucking wild to see him chatting with Artie Lang and Vin Diesel. So I don't know. First bald white guy that popped in my head.
I guess I'm bald. Oh man. Speaking of bad labels, Boba Fett says I'm having trouble getting in touch with Raro Video. They sent me a DVD of Killer Cop instead of Blu-ray. Can't get them to respond. Unfortunately, speaking just like Code Red, Kino distributes a lot of the Raro titles. My suggestion for everybody is to go through Kino for Raro only. Never go through Raro themselves, or however you say it, Raro.
Raro, I think is how you would pronounce it. Also, they're Italian, and as a Sicilian, Italians just suck. So, Sardis, are you the one that posted that on Reddit? My Ron from Best Buy came with 2 4K copies instead of a Blu-ray. That's a weird fuck up.
It is.
Because that means somebody out there probably has 2 Blu-rays.
Well, I'm sure stuff like that happens a lot. And it's not like that's done by human hands most of the time.
So the OCN Vinegar Syndrome partner label stuff is getting crazy.
Dude.
Someone really cannot be a completionist without having a sizable income.
So obviously, we're going to be talking about that on my stream on Thursday, but I am shocked that we got 9 titles from them last week. 9
labels.
Yeah.
And one of them was focusing on Asian cinema, which is awesome.
There's like 3 Asian releases that came out last week. It's crazy. That's awesome.
It's awesome. But man, do you think the reason are Vinegar Syndrome helping these labels? I just stuttered really bad. Wait, what? Oh, Ryan looks like Vin Diesel if Vin Diesel never became an action star and instead became the manager at a vacuum shop.
It's so specific.
That's great. That's oh my god.
Man. OCN is the company that Vinegar Syndrome works with to do all the restorations. And some of the guys that are actually in Vinegar Syndrome, like employees of Vinegar Syndrome, they do OCN stuff. That's how that started. And OCN, they do all of the restorations for all of the partner labels. That's where all this branches from.
So is because there's a lot of partner labels. So
literally right now there are 16, and they've already confirmed there are more new ones coming next year.
Wait, what? So are they helping them in any way? Like financially or
no, just distribution.
Man, 16 fucking labels. So they said more next year.
Yep.
They probably mean at least 2, so that's 18.
I mean, we just got 2 last week, so I'm betting it's going to be like at least 12.
Video Store said, I think China. I would actually say it's probably the opposite. I think China has strict laws, and
they're tightening it.
And these individual companies are trying to get their stuff out as soon as possible. I heard a rumor that Eureka is putting out a Asian title a month, a Hong Kong movie a month, and they're January, February, March. There's a Hong Kong title in
so far. Yeah.
Ryan say, I don't have friends, I have family. Say it in a deep voice.
The sad thing is, in my life, it's the opposite. So I'll say, I don't have family, I have friends.
One last ride.
Or I could do I think we did this on your show before we started streaming on all the channels. I could do the Arnold versions. I don't have family, I have friends.
I can do Trump or Obama.
These are never good.
Listen, I have more friends than anybody.
That's a terrible Obama.
That's a Hey Ryan, my name is Barack Obama, and I have more friends than family. Vinegar Syndrome. Quit having so many fucking partner labels. I kind of lost it there.
A little bit.
I can do Meatwad from Aqua Teen really well.
What a specific one.
All right, here. Hey Ryan, this is me, Rod. Vinegar Syndrome got too many fucking partner labels, baby. See? I can do it. So, Dustin, who's Dustin? You've heard the rumor about the Wingnut collection coming to Vinegar Syndrome. 3 4K UHDs.
For Black Friday 2022. Interesting.
What is Wingnut collection?
I'm not entirely sure.
I can do an impression of Jeremy really well, too.
Here we go.
No, never mind. I was going to be really mean. Never mind.
Okay, so all that being said, let's go back to the theme for tonight.
Yes.
What are you thinking we are going to be getting in 4K in 2022? So some big ones. First of all, this already got announced that we are getting Alligator in 4K. That's a big deal.
Cover.
It is. And this is from a bootleg.
Oh my God. They were like, let's just Google Alligator.
The sad thing is, I do think that is genuine art from the original release.
Well, that's even worse.
And then here is the other side of it.
That's better.
It is. King Dingling, I do hope that we are getting this. I don't know that Vinegar Syndrome will have been able to get the Peter Jackson films. I guess the Wingnut collection is Dead Alive and Meet the Feebles and the other one. But I'm blanking right now. I'm exhausted.
I think we're going to get a 4K of a Shaw Brothers movie. And my bet is going to be 8 Diagram Pole Fighter or 36 Chambers of Shaolin.
Oh, so you think that's why they're broken out and not in the Shaw scope?
So I think they have said that.
Thanks, King Dingling. That's the other one.
The rumor was that a UK company got 50 Shaw Brothers titles. It eventually got confirmed it was Arrow. One of the people at Arrow said it's much less than what was rumored, but it's still a lot. Judging by Arrow Shaw Brothers Volume 1, we got 12 movies in there. Volume 2 is going to be at least, I would say, 10 movies. On the cheat sheet that they kind of teased a little bit in the next year, one of the codes was 8DP or 8DF, which 8 Diagram Pole Fighter. And then 88 Films let it slip in a comment on Instagram that someone said, "Hey, I hope you guys release 36 Chambers of Shaolin." And they wrote, "Wouldn't it be cool if Arrow put out both that and its sequel in a nice deluxe edition?" So I'm thinking the one that makes the most sense is probably 8 Diagram Pole Fighter, because it's the latest of everything that we've had announced so far. And I think it has to be 4K because 88 Films already released that movie in a tremendous edition. And I think it would be really tough for anybody to double dip on that. And if you would have asked me before Ebola Syndrome got an 8K, a 4K, I would have never said 8 Diagram Pole Fighter would have got it. But I am thinking 8 Diagram Pole Fighter gets a 4K. I'm also going to guess, I think a box set, there's a rumored box set. The guy behind Pearl River Collection said he is working with a company, and the rumor was Severin, to put out a Bruceploitation box set. So I'm hoping that's true.
I don't think that would be in 4K.
No, I don't think that would be in 4K. But
box sets also, yes.
And then I think we're going to get a volume 2 of Years of Lead. I think that's a given.
Do you think that's coming this year? Because honestly, the fact that Years of Lead still has not sold out, I don't know that they're going to do that.
I mean, they probably license all those movies in one go. So I would say, yeah, it'll probably come this year.
That's probably true.
Get it done, get it out of the way. Flip is just a wealth of information. I love it. That's the first nice thing that you've ever said to me, Jeremy. I also would say I heard a rumor from a credible source that we are getting a second Joseph Klo box set. I would expect it to have Mystery of Chess Boxing in it. I did get a bootleg of Mystery of Chess Boxing. I'm looking for it. I don't know where it's at in this room, but there is a bootleg of it, and I watched it. Box of every YouTube video. But the person who did the bootleg bought a 35 millimeter print of the movie themselves and did a transfer themselves. And it looks incredible. So if a bootlegger was able to get a copy of a 35 millimeter print, I'm sure a company like Eureka can. And Joseph Klo's got some amazing movies that are still available. So that I have a feeling that we're going to be getting a Sleepy Eyes of Death box set from Arrow. They seem to be in bed with Daiei quite a bit. Jeremy, you motherfucker. But Arrow has been in bed with Daiei to the point where we got a Yokai Monsters box set.
How much is left, though?
Oh, a lot.
Really?
Like, oh man, Daiei's got 100 films. I'm sure they didn't license everything,
Yeah,
Obviously, that's 100
definitely
movies.
not.
But I think the big one is The Sleepy Eyes of Death. I think it's a 14 film series. The main actor Rizzo, I can't pronounce his last name very well, so I'm just going to call him Rizzo. Yes, Eric says he would buy Sleepy Eyes of Death on day one. Amigo had put him out in 4 separate box sets of the first 12 because they all starred the same actor. And then after he died at a very young age, they did 2 more films that were unsuccessful because they didn't have Rizzo as the lead. I'm actually shocked that Sleepy Eyes of Death didn't come before Yokai Monsters, because Yokai Monsters is like super unknown. The fact that box set is almost near sold out blows my mind. And I think that's a good indication of Arrow probably sticking with Daiei. I mean, look at all the Masamura stuff that we're getting. We're getting Red Angel in in January. I think they're pretty in bed with them. And I really hope that continues, because there's Yakuza films that they've done. Like I said, samurai movies that they've done. And I would love to see an Arrow box set of a samurai film franchise, because I think it's the only genre that we're missing now from them that I love personally. But yeah. I don't think we're going to get a hard-boiled 4K. I don't think so. Hunter says, what about a hard-boiled 4K legitimate release other than the bootleg Hong Kong Rescue? I would hope we get a legitimate release, but I have heard that Hong Kong Rescue has fucked up releases for us. That the stuff that he works on has stopped companies from producing those discs, which sucks, because I mean, stuff like that one bootlegger. Yeah, here it is. This bootlegger, as much as we're anti-bootlegs here for the most part, but no one's licensing The Hot and the Cool. No one's licensing Rebellion's Reign or From the Highway. Those are fine, I think, to like own copies of. No one's owning Mute Samurai. But when you have a film like Hard Boiled that's notoriously has been sought after in a good transfer, any of the early John Woo stuff, Hard Boiled, The Killer, I would love a nice release from Criterion.
Like I'd love a Woo box set, yeah.
So.
Earlier, Dave asked, what are the chances of a George Romero Living Dead collection? In the U.S., I feel like that's never going to happen.
Licenses, right?
No. Night of the Living Dead is literally public domain, but
is it really?
I believe so, yeah.
Huh.
Dawn of the Dead is notoriously expensive, and they're looking for like millions to restore it, and supposedly it's because they're trying to restore it in 3D as well. And Day of the Dead, God, I wish somebody would do it in 4K, but I just don't see it happening. But we did get Dawn of the Dead in the UK. We are getting Martin in 4K from the UK. Don't know what necessarily is going to come out of the US with that, but there is a lot of horror coming as well. I mean, we got confirmation from Brian Usna that Reanimator's getting a 4K restoration.
Is it really?
I would imagine that is coming from Arrow. I would not be surprised at all if that is the exact same way as the Children of the Corn, where they release it exactly the same. Or a better example is probably The Hills Have Eyes. They are probably going to release it in 4K in the same box with the same art, with the same book, with the same special features, and the only upgrade will be the 4K disc. So it is primarily for people that missed out on that original limited edition, which that Reanimator limited edition, it goes for some good money.
I think Arrow's going to start doing more Kenji Fukasaku stuff again.
I would see that.
I think they did tease Hokuriku Proxy War. Like a year ago, or 2 or 3 years ago at this point, when they were really putting out a lot of Kenji Fukasaku stuff. This year they repackaged, the singles into a nice little, flimsy box. We got the re-release of the Battles of Honor and Humanity. It kind of feels like they're kind of prepping, getting his name back into the word of mouth of fans.
Right.
I would and Kenji's got so many good movies. Proxy War. He's got Sympathy for the Underdog, which has a solid DVD release from years ago. We got Yakuza Graveyard. there's a lot of stuff that we could see from him that would just be amazing. And then his period piece stuff too, like Samurai Reincarnation, Shogun Samurai. There's a bunch of stuff that we could hopefully we see from him. And I would love. There are 2 other films in the Battles Without Honor Humanity franchise that are directed by other directors that weren't directed by Kenji, because he didn't even want to do the second trilogy. He was like, I don't want to do it. They pretty much made him do it, and then they wanted him to keep doing them. He said no, and there was 2 more movies in that franchise. So I would love to see like a little double pack of those. Horror wise, Asian horror, man. There's so much good stuff that's just lost. Ebola Syndrome getting a 4K has me hopeful.
Big deal.
Yeah. I don't think people understand how much of a big deal Ebola 4K is.
Yeah.
It's the first Hong Kong movie in 4K in the States.
And we've talked about it on here before, especially with Eric being in the chat recently. I am hoping to God that we get a Ju-On box set this year.
That'd be sick.
Don't understand how we don't have that yet.
I want to see more labels do TV shows.
Absolutely.
Tokyo Shock did the Zatoichi series and the Lone Wolf and Cub series, and not just focusing on Asian stuff, but like there's a lot of lost TV shows I would love.
Yeah, stuff like
that. Perfect. Yeah.
Imprint has some stuff on 1 or 2 of their boxes. Yeah.
Someone put out Bosch all 7 seasons because I love Bosch. I need girls with guns. I think every guy needs a girl with guns.
I will stick up for, again, I'm hoping that this year we see a resurgence in the 90s erotic thrillers. There's so many cool movies, Skinamax type films that came out that were genuinely decent. That are
G-string, Ghost in a Teeny Bikini. Sorry, just naming these off the top of my head.
Bikini Jones.
Oh my god.
Teenage Exorcist. Yeah.
Ghost in a Teeny Bikini. I cranked it a lot to that movie. Talking about kids. Oh, boom, boom, boom.
I think it's hilarious that we are getting Escape from LA in 4K.
Yes, this right here, David Becker. This needs a US release. Eureka put out a DVD box set years ago. They're fucking. Have you seen those movies?
No.
They're so much fun. They're like I could see Arrow doing it. They're so. You and me both, Flip. Oh god, that's why your last name is long.
I think we get 7 Samurai in 4K this year.
Yes, I 100% think that we will be getting 7 Samurai in 4K. Absolutely. I'm gonna guess more Eurocrime.
That's not a bad guess.
Seems like a big, 88's put out 2 great single releases. Man on Fire needs a 4K upgrade. That's Ridley Scott, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I just want more box sets of spaghetti westerns, of kung fu movies. I'm trying to think of. I would love if they did a 4K box set of just Akira Kurosawa. Just do Throne of Blood. 7 Samurai.
Oh, it was Tony Scott. That's right.
It's Fire's Tony Scott.
Yeah.
The better Scott. He did True Romance.
I love Tony Scott films.
I love Tony Scott. If you're restricted to 3 labels only. Woo. Oh man. Eureka 88 Arrow. I almost said Kino for the last part.
Well, if you read all of his question and when it says value for the price, I almost think you have to say Kino because they are the cheapest to get. Easily.
I would say Eureka too. They ship free international shipping is insane.
Yes, but they pretty much never do sales. They do these 4 titles are 10% off for the next 3 days.
But the quality of their first printing of their first press releases are
very true.
Better than I think any other company. Like look at this release. This is the Great Silence. This has got a reversible cover on the inside. It's got three different covers. It's got this one, and then another one on the back. You get art cards, you get a book, you get a poster, a reversible poster loaded with special features. I do want to say the company with the best slipcovers though has got to be 88 Films. I thought I had one ready to grab. Yeah, right here. Their slipcovers they are, as in my opinion, they're just as thick and well made as Vinegar Syndrome.
Not even close.
I would argue with that, but the Vinegar Syndrome ones are just insane though. I don't have a Vinegar Syndrome one exactly with me, but I have Walking the Edge.
It's the exact same thing.
Beautiful. So
Maximus brought up Harmony Korine. I would love a box set of Harmony Korine. A Tony Scott box set would be great. I agree.
Top Gun. Jeremy says best packaging would have to be Second Sight.
Well, and to bring them up, this is I won't necessarily disagree. This is one that is on my honorable mention that I didn't show at all tonight. The Guest is in 4K, and this release is incredible. However, it's not shot on film, so it's not a real great 4K transfer. The HDR looks amazing, but I mean, Second Sight, this is for one film. You see this? This is like a book.
That's a big book.
This wasn't an expensive release, but I mean,
how much?
Really, like $50, $50, $55.
That's not bad for everything you get.
Right. And then on top of that, the reason why it was so expensive is because you get the 4K, you get the Blu-ray, but for the first time, the soundtrack came out on CD as well.
I'm going to run and get a drink since we're almost done. I'll be right back.
And the pricing on this, I've argued recently about Synapse being overpriced because you get, that new release of the Kindred that is, out on Steelbook now. That thing is $50, $60, and it's not 4K. It doesn't have the soundtrack, I don't think, and it is nowhere near as high quality as this. And this is incredible. Hard box, J-card's kind of flimsy coming off here, but this is nice, and art on the back of the box as well. And King Dingling says, I'm digging the addition to soundtracks. I genuinely listen to them. I like a lot of them, and that's why Severin gets my vote a lot of the times because they do a lot with soundtracks. There are so many of their releases. Even this Christopher Lee box, it has a bonus disc of rare interviews plus photo pack book and a soundtrack CD. I mean, in a box set, you can't say anybody else is really doing that with that sort of quality. Second Sight is great though. Whoever said that they have, I think that was Jeremy that said that they have, best packaging might have to be Second Sight. I might agree with that. I mean, this box is incredible. It's huge, it's sturdy, really well put together. A little on the expensive side, but everything you get for it, it's incredible. King Dingling says, Synapse is killing me. I want Let Sleeping Corpses Lie, but I'm not forking out $50 and then months later only have it upgraded to UHD. Well, I mean, to be fair, they've only done that with Suspiria, kind of. The other ones have been much longer.
Suspiria.
Cinematic asks, coming back to Escape from LA 4K, did Shout already lose the rights? I know it's Paramount putting out the new release. Just weird how quick it came after Shout's release. If you pay attention, the Escape from LA press release, the box actually only says 4K. It does not say 4K plus Blu-ray. So I believe Shout still has the rights to the Blu-ray disc, and Paramount only is putting out the 4K disc.
That stuff is different licenses.
Absolutely.
4K, yes, it's always different licenses. Is the Christopher Lee box set good?
Yes, I mean that was, I included that Bubba in my number one of tonight, going over the box sets for this year. That with the addition of the Milligan box set from Severin, they are on the path to doing incredible things. And from what I hear, they are absolutely going to be diving into more box sets. And you got to pay attention to things like this. I agree with Anthony here. I ended up getting the Synapse Demons 1 and 2 4K from Orbit because I thought the price of $44 with the recent 15% off price when they had their sale is the best available. You're not going to be able to get it for much cheaper than that.
I mean, and things and like our choices here could change. Like I just remembered Armor of God from '88 is coming out within the next week or so. So fingers crossed they come sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Bubba, that original Dawn of the Dead limited edition is crazy.
Yeah, let's not talk about Orbit because I think they're still a hidden treasure.
Not really anymore. I mean, did you see what John posted earlier? His order is getting delayed because they oversold one of the titles this weekend. One of the '88 titles.
Those motherfuckers! Fuck Orbit.
Well, what's odd is they had everything set up to not do that, and somehow they still oversold. It's crazy.
Probably a computer error.
It's a good thing it wasn't something where they only had like 3 and now it's out of print. It was Disciples of Shaolin.
Oh, dude, that is a fantastic release. One of the best of the year. But is it better than Chinese Boxer? Find out next week. For what is the best single releases. Are we doing top 10 or top 15? It's really hard.
I think we said 15, but
all right,
with
15.
3 of us, that's going to be forever.
I mean, it's already been 2 hours. I mean, I'm fine with forever.
We got through our stuff pretty it tonight, though.
Yes. Armor of God is a rare pre-order for me, and I can't wait. Excuse me? How is the Tale of Two Sisters released this year? Find out next week.
It is, I think, within reach. Where is it? It is really nice. And if you can get the limited edition,
that slipcover is gorgeous.
This slipcover is crazy. It's one of the soft touch slipcovers, and it is Maximus throw the shade. I love this. Suddenly, it's one of the soft touch slipcovers, and the spot gloss on here is great. But on top of that, the movie looks better than it ever has. Really, really decent book in this one, and I just found out that. I forgot that I got the card from Asker Tom in here.
Wait, that's coming?
The book in here is really good, and a lot of the special features, I believe. Let's see, audio commentary by Kim Ji-woon, and then this has brand new audio commentary by Korean cinema historian Pierce Conran and critic James Marsh. Go ahead.
Ice says, who's the guest next week? It's Eric, the Asian movie enthusiast, which ties into that release because that's his favorite movie of all time.
Right.
What a nerd.
Does it come with a bloody glove? Not this time.
King Dingo says, I need that Police Academy complete US box set.
I would love that.
I've been on a cop TV show binge, dude.
Again, you need to start The Shield.
Started Southland.
How are you going to start that before The Shield?
I'm working my way back. Bosch is incredible, though.
See this? Bubba says Armor of God already shipping to him, along with Hatchet to the Honeymoon.
That means Orbit's going to have it any day now.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Here is a
are you
great question.
Depends on the movie. If it's a movie I have never seen before, I am locked in, zoned in. Dark, black room, focusing on the movie. If it's something like Lone Wolf and Cub I've seen 1,000 times, I'm doing other shit. I'm on my phone. It's on in the background. But if it's a first-time watch, I'm zoned in. I actually yell at my wife if we're watching a movie and she's not. I'm like, put your fucking phone away.
I am 98% of the time watching first-time watches. I don't do a lot of rewatches with how little I get to watch nowadays. So I am 100% always focused. I'm not always in a dark room just because it's an odd setup. I've been toying around with sharing how I watch films because a couple of people have asked, but my setup really sucks. Like I've got a really nice TV, but I've got no sound system, and it's in a corner of a fairly. It's not like a big living room, but it's
a pretty big living room.
It's also really heavily windowed. so there's a lot of glare no matter where you're sitting, and it's rough.
I would say I think having my phone out is a good test on how engaged I am with the movie. If I'm losing interest and I grab my phone, that knocks against the phone.
The only reason I ever purposefully reach for it is if I'm taking notes, because there are certain things that I try to take notes on some of these. But the big thing that I really try to do is I try to stay awake. I've got a lot going on in life, and the few times that I can get to it, it is hard sometimes. 2 kids with special needs and a new job, and last night I forgot to mention this earlier. While watching Lone Wolf and Cub, I was so focused that I didn't hear my oldest son woke up and came and stood at the top of the stairs in our living room. Didn't notice him, so I'm watching like somebody getting cut in half, basically. And he comes over in front of us as we're staring at the TV and tells us that he got sick. So I had to pause Lone Wolf and Cub because he went and threw up.
He was throwing up because he was so in shock that you were finally watching Lone Wolf and Cub.
The best part, this morning, he went to my wife and said, "Can I watch the movie you guys were watching?"
Yes! Yes! Oh, man. That's awesome. Now what would you rate the first Lone Wolf and Cub movie? Sword of Vengeance.
I am at somewhere between a 3.5 and a 4 out of 5.
I think the second one is going to be a 5 out of 5 for you. For real. You're going to love it. Eric says, a wise man once said, every movie starts at a 10 out of 10. I drop my rating by 1 point every time I look at my phone. Who said that? Was that you?
No, nope.
Eric?
I think that's... Oh, yeah, I think it is Eric saying it.
Yeah, I mean, like, seriously, though, if it's a Shaw Brothers movie that I've seen a lot, I'm focused, but I'm doing other shit. Like, I'll know, like, when the cool part's coming, so I'll be playing, like, League of Legends on my phone, and I'll, like, pause and, like, look at what's going on.
And Ragnar, I really do want a soundbar. It is on my list, hopefully, for when I get my tax refund. And also, this one, I wanted to point out, I've wanted to see Bloodfest for a while. I've heard it's actually pretty decent.
Ash says, Film from Home blocked me because I said I wasn't into buying a Chinese TV he was promoting. Guess he got butthurt.
We will likely never be able to promote what was the Valencia studio style home cinema seating. So don't worry about that. We won't block you for now.
I would love to have Film at Home on the channel.
Oh yeah, I'd be thrilled for it. He's got like 70,000 followers. Hell yeah!
I'll make fun of him to his face.
What's up, Master Senpai?
Like, you're the Joel Osteen of this community. Like, you know that, right?
You see that TikTok going around with Joel
I
Osteen?
love that,
it's
dude.
It's so funny.
Hey, remember Joel Osteen, you're a piece of shit, right? And he's just like, yeah. I mean, good on Osteen for not getting mad, just laughing and walking away. I mean,
that's probably happened like 30 times. Just never been caught on film. Nerd is talking about Deep Red. This was on my October watch list, and somehow I kept putting it off. And the reason was because I wanted to watch it.
Are you still going through your October list?
I mean, yes, but also I watched Lone Wolf and Cub last night, so
yes.
So get off my nuts, huh?
So has that made the top of the list now? Like, are you more into wanting to watch Lone Wolf and Cub?
I've always wanted to watch them. It's just there are random things that come up that they make it more of a priority, basically. But also, like I said, I don't tend to, like, I'm not going to watch part 2 tomorrow. It'll probably be a bit.
You should. You should watch them with your kids too. Very kid friendly. Can your kids handle nipples and blood?
I love we put it on, and my wife didn't know half of the terminology. She was like, "Do you think seppuku is like murder?" I was like, "No, come on, everybody knows what seppuku is." And then she was like, "What are we watching? This lady is breastfeeding this kid," and then we just started this.
That is a weird thing, and with Lady Snowblood too, like there's naked children in those movies. It's a little unsettling at times. Like, you see Daiguro's penis at multiple times in that series, but you don't watch it for that. You watch it for fucking Ogami Ito just being stoic, just like, oh, just like, oh man. Like when I read something in Japanese, I read it in that voice because it's so iconic. And then what'd you think? What'd your wife think of him being like, choose the ball or choose the sword?
Well, as I said, she fell asleep pretty quickly.
Oh, that's fast.
Yeah.
It's like right. Oh man. I don't rate movies. I just watch them. Nobody needs my opinion.
I was about to highlight that comment.
We love your opinion.
Sardis, I really want your opinion all the time.
Start a letterbox.
I guess we're turning into anti-films at home tonight, but
My friends at the studio. You mean some PR dude who gives you free shit?
well, and not to mention, like, I don't want to sound like that either, but I've reached out and made a couple contacts with people in labels and all that, but it's not. I don't try to say it braggadociously, but when he's speaking on it, it's like, well, Jim at Warner Brothers sent me this. It's like, you're just on their press list. Come on.
He's like the quartering of this community. I think they're from the same area too, which is funny. And it sucks because chubby dudes with beards are usually very cool people. And, you know what? And he probably is awesome. He probably is such a nice guy. But there's just been too many times where he has just given the wrong information and has not fixed it. You know? The ball versus sword scene is the ultimate badass. Yes. Nothing says badass like killing your infant son. And Jeremy Long says, I'm addicted to Letterbox. He is. And so am I. I'm on it all the time. I love it.
That reminds me. Now I can put in my Lone Wolf and Cub rating.
I have to watch, I think, like 20-ish more films to hit my goal of 356 movies every year. So I think I can hit that.
356, not 365?
Sorry, 365. Sorry. Yeah. I'm 30 films away. Oh, man. I got to binge watch some movies. I should just watch the Zatoichi movies. Boom. Watch all 25 in one day. What's your favorite watch of the year?
Oh, let me.
What have you watched recently? Because we normally talk about that. I binge watched all of the Outlaw Gangster VIP movies, and I haven't seen them in a while. Love them. One of my top 5 favorite film franchises.
I think it was Nerd. Somebody got that after we talked about it.
Nerd, yep. Nerd got it. I very similar to Lone Wolf and Cub. A director did 4 of them, the majority of them that are good. Third is the worst one in my opinion. Same with Lone Wolf and Cub. I also watched The Wild Bunch again. And my review of The Wild Bunch, if anybody has seen Sam Peckinpah's classic, I wrote a story of some good Christian boys doing very nice things to people. Which is great. I rewatched The Outlaw Josie Wales. Have you seen that movie?
No.
You haven't seen Outlaw Josie Wales? Directed by Clint Eastwood?
No, I hate Clint Eastwood.
You can hate somebody as a person. You don't like his movies either? You don't like him?
Not really.
You don't like him hard kissing 12-year-old girls on the lips?
Not anymore.
I sent that to Ryan. There's a clip of, I think it's The Beguiled is the movie.
Yeah.
But he literally is like, "What's your name, little girl?" And she's like, "Amy." And he's like, "How old are you?" And she's like, 12. Gonna be 13 in a few months. And he's like, "Old enough for kisses." Literally, that's the conversation. And then kisses her on the lips. I like Clint Eastwood's movies, dude. He's iconic. Absolutely iconic. But the problem with Outlaw...
Jeremy's at close to 300 movies since May. King Dingling says, I'm at 202 for the year. I've got 7 kids and own my own business. God damn.
I own my own business too. But 7 kids. Good fucking Lord, dude. Are you Catholic?
Jeremy, I'm not buying Cry Macho. I'd rather cry myself.
My dad called me after he watched it, and he was like, my dad loves Clint Eastwood. And he's like, what the fuck was that piece of shit? It's like, he needs to stop. My beautiful wife is finally done putting the baby to bed. But I watched Outlaw Josie Wales, but I did not know Outlaw Josie Wales is based on a book written by a former KKK member. So it kind of almost ruined the movie for me. But I still gave it 4 stars because it's fucking fantastic. And I rewatched Itchy the Killer. Pull-out game week. You're either Catholic or you're Hispanic, or you're the Duggars. So it's one of those three.
And if you're one of them, then you're in some legal trouble.
Oh my God! Speaking of Clint Eastwood, oh man, everyone who purchases Cry Macho gets a free. I wish, dude. I would kiss 91-year-old Clint Eastwood. He probably tastes like Cuban cigars and cum.
Gavin, what's going on?
Gavin McGinnis?
No. I've always wanted to know how to say this. I think it's Refelt, something like that. Refelt. I'm probably putting the emphasis on it wrong.
I watched Itchy the Killer. My review for it was, this is actually a Christian movie about how Joel Osteen got into preaching the prosperity gospel. And then I saw Old Henry and gave it 4.5 out of 5. Like, nice. I loved Old Henry. You and Nerd, thank you so much for pushing that movie on me, man.
Dave wants to know, can you rate the Vinegar Syndrome Forgotten Jolly sets versus the Arrow Jolly Essential sets? I will say the Arrow sets overall have better films, but I think that the Vinegar Syndrome has a wider breadth of film for you to discover. But I mean, they're just completely different. They were different reasons to exist. The Arrow ones, they still had the rights, and they were just trying to repackage them for collectors that didn't get them before.
And they're nice boxes, though.
Yeah.
13 down to 1-year-old, 1 of special needs. 7.
It's a lot of work.
That is a lot. You have 7 children. God bless you, man.
Rayfeld. That makes sense. So my top of the year, I watched
Reindeer Field. Did you see the rest of that comment?
Yeah. I watched Broadcast News for the first time this year and fucking loved it. The dialogue in that film is amazing. Benny Loves You. It came out in 2019. Talked about that earlier in this year. That film is amazing. It's like Child's Play combined with a handful of other titles. Bloody as hell. Some really good practical effects. Some decent CGI, but it is funny. Genuinely creepy, too. Let's see. The Kid Detective from 2020 was the first watch for me, and that was a rare modern 5 out of 5 film for me.
Whoa.
The Kid Detective is astounding. It is like the grown-up version of when you were younger, and for some reason, for those 3 weeks in 5th grade when you started reading the Hardy Boys books. And it is so well made. Some really genuinely good mystery. Really, really good dialogue. That
the main character is the main bad guy in Promising Young Woman.
Yep,
he was great in that movie.
The Nightingale, first time watch this year.
Oh my God, that movie
was one of my favorite movies of all time. Now, let's see. Blind Spotting, I watched for the first time this year. Loved that one. But this is probably really overstated many, many times by now. My favorite thing that came out this year by leaps and bounds, and a lot of people are going to think this is silly, but the Bo Burnham Inside special is one of the most profound pieces of art that we have been able to be witness of in this year.
My favorite thing I've watched this year probably is Too Old to Die Young, by Nicholas Winding Refn. Just that show, I guess is what you could call it, because it's literally just like a 10-hour movie. Has some of the most striking visuals I've ever seen in anything, ever.
Mike wants to say, rate the Camille Keaton set. I got to be honest, at least 2 out of the 3 films are not great. The collection overall, I'd probably give a 3 out of 5. But Camille Keaton it's just not her best work. But they were likely all licensed together anyway, so they had to put them together because they wouldn't sell on their own. And let's see. Jeremy loves some Albert Brooks. Albert Brooks is so great in that movie. Everybody seemed to love The Nightingale. Good.
A modern classic.
I agree. I can't wait to see what she does next.
Actually, take that back. Old Henry might be my favorite thing to watch this year. I just love that. Who's that actor? Who
Which
plays
one?
Henry? Who plays Henry?
Oh, he's got a like a unique name. I can never.
He's in Holes. Like my wife was like, "Oh, that's the guy from Holes."
Yep.
Fucking man, dude, that movie is so good. Like, it doesn't do anything new or groundbreaking, but it's just a good Western. It's written so well. The characters are so great. And Trace Adkins, for the little screen time that he's given in that movie, is so good.
Jeremy says he saw Kid Detective in theaters and fell asleep because it was super late. Yeah, Kid Detective is genuinely a modern, I hesitate to say masterpiece, but so well done. Much better than they could have been.
Honestly, dude, the best sleep is when you go to a movie theater and there's no one there and you just pass out. For real. For real. The Return of Skywalker, or the fuck the last Star Wars movie was, that was the best 45-minute to an hour nap that I've ever had in my life.
Ryan, if you've got a kid, have you seen the movie The Horseman 2008? Man, that movie, I don't think I've seen The Horseman.
I still love your name, King Dingling. Thank you, Jeremy. Not a lot of people like that show because it's weird. A little too weird, but it's fantastic. Just so much good shit that's stuck behind streaming.
That's true.
You know?
Gavin says talk about Hudson Hawk. Have you seen Hudson Hawk?
No.
You should.
What is that?
It is a good Bruce Willis movie.
From 1991?
What do you think about Bruce Willis? I don't think we've talked about him too much.
I think he fucking sucks. I think that he has ruined his career. I think he's ruined his legacy with everything he's doing now. I think he's had a stretch of good movies. Die Hard 1 and 2 are great. Pulp Fiction's great. Can't name another good Bruce Willis movie.
16 Blocks is genuinely a really good movie. With him and Mos Def.
It was 14 blocks too long.
I will talk about this one for a second too.
Yeah.
Ash, the stylist from Arrow, is a really good proto slasher. I love that Flex brings up 16 Blocks right after I did. He probably said it right before I did. The stylist, it's decent. I won't say it's great or a masterpiece or anything, but the big thing, I'm in Kansas City, and it's filmed by a Kansas City director with Kansas City talent in Kansas City. The extras are all done in Kansas City, including when they finished filming one of the scenes. It was the morning of the Chiefs' Super Bowl winning parade through downtown. So some of that is there. Yeah, the stylist is pretty interesting. It is basically a female maniac, but done in a more modern take, and it's pretty well done. The ending you see coming, but it's worth it.
Flip, how would you rank the Il Grande Silencio Blu-ray? It's top 5 favorite single releases of the year for me.
Guess you'll find out next week, huh?
You will find out next week. It's fantastic. I think the special features, I think it's better than the Film Movement one. It's superb. It's one of my favorite spaghetti westerns. I always find it interesting. Like, do you always find it interesting, like, what becomes a classic as time has gone on? So, like, you know, The Good, the Bad, the Ugly has always been loved. Django, for the most part, has always been loved. But then, like, I wouldn't say The Great Silence is a deep cut, but it's just in the last year or so that's become a beloved film.
Right.
So I would and then Flip, do you have you seen the Detective D movies? Yes. It's a detective set in like the kung fu detective. They're fun. They're not that great. I don't own any of them. I don't think I desire to own any of them, but if one comes out, I'll watch it. It's like just good popcorn fun. Jeremy says Bruce is an asshole.
And Jeremy probably knows.
Hudson Hawk is not my favorite movie, but it's an absolutely fascinating. My all-time favorite movie is All That Jazz.
All That Jazz, I believe, is another one coming. I believe that's coming at 4K, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Bruce Willis trying to find relevance in a society that has moved away as he's aged out. Some guys just can't adapt.
Okay, genuinely, what do you think is the last good Bruce Willis movie?
Die Hard 2 or Pulp Fiction.
You don't think anything after that was decent? Like even like Sixth Sense, he was great in.
I think Sixth Sense is overrated. I think it's a fine. Like he doesn't kill. Like when I think of Sixth Sense, I don't think of his acting. I think of that little boy's acting.
Well, to be honest, I don't really think a lot of the acting. I think the script was the real winner with Sixth Sense.
Honestly, I'm not saying this to be, funny or silly. I really think Pulp Fiction was the last good Bruce Willis performance.
There's a lot of really good. Well, if we're just talking about performance, that's a different thing.
He has potential. Like I would love to see somebody. I think he would fit into an S. Craig Zoller script. I think he would have fit perfectly in Dragged Across Concrete. If you would have swapped him out with Vince Vaughn or Mel Gibson, I think he would have fit perfectly in that movie.
No, make him a villain in an S. Craig Zoller film.
Yeah. Oh yeah, perfect. Like I think he fits into that kind of film. Like here's the problem is that he's doing those kind of movies, but he's doing those movies that don't have a good script and don't have a good director behind them. And if he has somebody like Zoller who is making those movies, but they're extremely well done, I think he has potential to be like to have a renaissance similar to Mel Gibson. I mean, Mel Gibson in the last few years, like, was it Boss or In Boss that came out this year with Frank Grillo?
Yeah,
that was a good movie, solid movie. The Bloodfather, solid movie.
But again, not to cut you off there, Mel Gibson again is a genuine racist piece of shit, and I wish we could see some good people come back to relevance more so.
Hey, that racist piece of shit. Okay,
Are you going to bring up The Passion of the Christ now?
No, he made God. What's that Aztec movie? That's really
Apocalypto.
Good. That's a fucking fantastic.
It is amazing, yeah. Amazing. And that's the thing. I'm not saying that Mel Gibson isn't great at all.
He can be as racist as he wants. If he's producing great art, then I'm fine. I'm just kidding. He's like a talented Clint Eastwood. He is so good in Dragged Across Concrete, though, Ryan.
This is true. I would say Bruce Willis's last good movie.
Looper. I hate
Looper
Ryan
is well
Johnson.
done.
I hate Ryan Johnson besides Knives Out.
And I don't understand that because he's made some good movies.
Knives Out is fantastic.
And that's not the only one. Before that, Moonrise Kingdom was also good, and that was long after Pulp Fiction. Red is a good movie.
Yeah. Now I wanna go back to this comment though, because he says a la Liam Neeson. Liam Neeson for me, and I know this is gonna be weird, he is like the comfort food action guy.
Well, that's what he's saying. Some guys can't adapt like Liam Neeson has.
It's so weird that Liam Neeson has taken that role because he's a fucking dinosaur.
You know, he really is, and that's why, like Taken or whatever I think it was Taken 2. That him jumping over the fence, it had to be like 37
Taken
cuts.
3, I think, is that.
Okay.
But it's just so weird because Liam Neeson, because like Bruce Willis looks physically intimidating.
He certainly does.
Liam Neeson does not. So like for an action star, it's funny that Liam Neeson is the one that has been able to prolong his career and keep busy. Side note, have you seen the GIF? It's from a movie of Liam Neeson running naked.
No.
He has got the biggest penis I've ever seen.
Is that from Schindler's List? I'm just kidding.
Dude, it's like down to his knee almost. I'm not exaggerating.
All right.
We should do a episode once we're done with the New Year stuff of like never mind, best actress penises. Because I heard William Dafoe's was so big they had to get a stunt cock for the Antichrist.
For Antichrist, yeah.
What the fuck? Did either of you watch The Columnist?
No, I just had to look it up, and I have not seen it.
Yeah, people were saying Looper, Lucky Number 11.
What's funny is I mentioned 16 Blocks, and the movie that he had come out right after that is maybe my favorite thing he's done since 16 Blocks, and that's Over the Hedge. I don't know if you've seen it. That is a genuinely great animated film.
Which one?
Over the Hedge.
Over the Hedge? I've not seen Over the Hedge.
He plays the main character, a raccoon, and he is trying to scheme a bunch of people in a forest where basically it's getting gentrified, like it's turning into suburbs, and they have to go break into somebody's house to get food, to go feed a bear. It's a long story, but it's got a really great cast. Like Wanda Sykes is in it, and Thomas Hayden Church, whole bunch of people. Over the Hedge is hilarious and really well animated, surprisingly.
Oh yeah, Sin City. He is in Sin City.
He is, and he's great in Sin City.
I take that back. Sin City is the last one. I forgot about that. You want to know what's weird about Sin City is that the second one gets negatively, it gets panned, but it's still very faithful to the source material because I love that comic. But the comic, the part that it adapted, is great as a comic, but as a visual medium, it just failed short. It just falls short. So I don't know why that is, but I just think that's interesting.
I don't know why I totally spaced on it, but Unbreakable came out in 2000, and he's incredible in that.
That's pre Sin City.
Yes, but yes, I mean we were just saying. You said Pulp Fiction is his last good one. The whole 9 yards was after that. That's good.
Was Sin City 2 directed by Frank Miller? I don't think so.
I don't believe so.
He directed one of the only movie I've ever walked out of. Frank Miller did. I forgot what it's called, but it's absolutely terrible.
Oh, is that The Spirit?
The Spirit, walked out of that. Terrible. Yeah, Sin City 2 is it's directed by Miller and
Frank Miller and Robert Rodriguez.
Frank Miller, racist piece of shit. He did a whole comic book as Batman going over to the Middle East and just beating up Muslims. And DC was like, no. So he just got rid of the Batman costume in it and put it out. 12 Monkeys. Gavin keeps saying 12 Monkeys.
12 Monkeys. Have you seen 12 Monkeys?
No.
Genuinely great movie. Arrow put it out as well. It is. I haven't seen it in so long. They probably have a better synopsis than me. Following the blah, blah, blah. It is by Terry Gilliam. That's the first thing. In 1996, a deadly virus, so sounding familiar, is unleashed by a group calling themselves the Army of the 12 Monkeys, destroying much of the world's population and forcing survivors underground. In 2035, prisoner James Cole, played by Bruce Willis, is chosen to go back in time and help scientists in their search for a cure. Featuring an Oscar-nominated turn by Brad Pitt as mental patient Jeffrey Goins, 12 Monkeys would become Gilliam's most successful film and is now widely regarded as a sci-fi classic. And it really is. 12 Monkeys is fantastic.
What's the last good sci-fi movie you watched?
Ex Machina.
Did Annihilation come out before or after that?
Oh, are you just saying last released?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Annihilation is great. Ex Machina is great. Upgrade was great.
Oh yeah, Upgrade. That should have been bigger than what it was.
Absolutely.
Also, I showed my wife, not sci-fi, but I showed my wife, just action related, the scene from Malignant in the cop station.
It's such a wild scene.
Fuck it. That might be, I mean, I don't like that movie, but that might be my favorite scene out of any movie of the year.
It's
awesome.
That's one of my other pickups. I just got that in too.
God damn, that whole movie should have been that. Should have been that. That's such a good, it just turns into John Wick. How did they film that too?
A lot of it is CGI.
Because it literally looks like she's moving in reverse.
Yeah.
So good. Oh, The Fifth Element. Yeah, Fifth Element's great, dude. But I think the true star of Fifth Element is
Chris Tucker.
No, yeah, Chris Tucker. For real, I love.
I knew you were going to say that. That's why I said it.
Not Mila Jovovich. Mila Jovovich is a good actress that just never made good movies.
Yeah.
Resident Evil is honestly a guilty pleasure. I love the Resident Evil movies. Gary Oldman.
Gary Oldman is such a great actor.
He's all right. He's all right. Yeah, good thing, Jeremy, because that is the biggest piece of shit I've ever seen in my life. She is so stink cute in that film. I know that you meant stinking cute. Yeah, there you go. But it's just funny. You're like, hey, girl, you're so cute that you stink. Hey, Tay, you're so cute that you stink. Huh? She just goes, okay.
Video Store is asking, isn't The Sixth Sense a horror? That's the kind of film that like you can spawn arguments over. It's very much a thriller. I don't remember there being a lot of horror in The Sixth Sense. I know there's a couple jump scares, and some of it is horrifying. But I don't know. I'd probably say thriller.
Frank Miller, Mel Gibson, Clint Eastwood are single-handedly reviving. I'm gonna guess reviving is what he meant to say.
Revising the Kai Klux
Klan. The Kai Klux Klan. What is that, Jeremy? Come on, Jeremy, you're a writer. You should be able to write stuff correctly.
He's a writer, not a typer.
Oh, I forgot. He's a reality TV writer, so it doesn't even have to be that good.
Damn, throwing shade.
Hey, that
Films at Home and Jeremy Long.
I mean, aren't they the same people?
One of them dated what's his nuts' daughter, and it wasn't Films at Home.
Oh yeah, you dated Andy Dick's daughter, Jeremy. That is wild. And you are best friends with Andy Dick, which is even crazier.
Not best friends with, but did a show with. A weekly show.
Are you not friends with him anymore because he's
I wouldn't say best friends.
Rapist.
I didn't know Andy Dick was
He raped a boy apparently. A man, I should say. It's an ex-boyfriend.
Tale of Two Sisters is more of a drama than horror, yeah, for sure.
I 100% agree. And it's not even like jump scare. It's just surprised Andy Dick had spawned anything. He's actually Jeremy's dad too.
Spawned a lot of positive tests.
I used to go to the theater on Friday nights during high school football. Nobody there but me. East Texas. Oh man, could not imagine East Texas football.
East Texas finding a theater every like 94 miles.
I get like if your kid's in sports, being active in that community, but I don't understand people who don't have children in high school and are like into high school sports. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? Stay home.
That is the longest awkward pause we've had all night.
And it just got longer.
Had to point it out.
Andy grew up in the suburb just south of me. So did John Barrowman. Who's John Barrowman?
I recognize that name. I feel like he's a writer.
Hey, who's the male celebrity that you would make out with?
John Barrowman's from Torchwood. This guy.
Oh, never seen Torchwood, but I know who he looks like.
He's from Arrow, Zero Dark 30.
Hell yeah, brother. Zero Dark 30. My dad's favorite movie. Second favorite movie.
Zero Dark 30 was decent to watch once or twice.
Isn't it directed by, what's her name?
Catherine Bigelow.
Yeah, she did The Hurt Locker, too.
Mrs. James Cameron, yeah.
I would say she's modern James Cameron. She's better than modern James Cameron.
That's easy.
Have you seen Avatar, bro? Bro, Avatar is great. Silence
of the Lambs is definitely more of a thriller than a horror.
I ate his liver with some fava beans.
It's also more of like a crime thriller than anything. I mean, the whole point of it's a mystery.
What's better, Silence of the Lambs or Manhunt?
Manhunter?
Manhunter, sorry.
We've already talked about this many times. Manhunter is my favorite of that entire series.
Well, I love it. It's so fucking good.
Ragnar. He says a man standing with his penis tucked between his legs is definitely a horror movie.
This is probably TMI, but one time when I was much younger, I tucked it in, right? And I peeked around the corner. I said, "Look, Mom, I'm just like you." And I got grounded. I was like 12.
That's better than my comment. After he says a man standing there with his thing tucked in between his legs is a horror movie, I was going to say, just like my shower when I was 11 years old.
I thought that you were going to say the gay pride flag. Oh, no, sorry. I thought that was on. Well, wait. On the StreamYard, it's a gay pride flag. Look, and then when you pull it up, it's not.
I mean, it still looks like that for me.
On my screen, it's a gay pride flag on the right, and then when you pull it up, it's not.
What is it when you pull it up there? Because it's still the same for me.
It's black and white.
Oh, that's weird.
Huh.
Yes, I definitely prefer Manhunter. I really hope we get that in 4K. Yeah, so good. Jeremy says he and Andy Dick were always friends, even when we did the show, and they still are. Just don't talk to him as often.
Well, that's because you're a bad friend, Jeremy. He's going through a rough spot. Call him. You want to talk about movies?
I mean, I guess.
I have a man crush on Titus Welliver.
I don't know that name at all.
He plays Bosch.
Oh, that's why.
Look at him, dude. Look at him.
Yep, I've seen him.
God, he's got fucking tattoos everywhere too. For a dude that's fucking 60 years old, man. I do, apparently.
Flip's got a homophobic lots of things.
No, I'm actually extremely
gay.
Yes. Yes. Can we get to keep killing me, Michael Mann?
Supposedly, we are never going to be able to.
Why?
Because of the elements. If you can find, there's a Aussie DVD that came out that is great, but I mean, there's bootleg blues of it out there.
Who's just selling his name? He's on everything. I think it's quite simple. Silence of the Lambs steps into the mind of the detective, whereas Manhunter is the mind of a killer.
I agree there fully.
Completely agree. I didn't see Manhunter until I said a couple years ago, and I was blown away.
Man, the wheelchair fire scene in Manhunter is shocking.
It's such. I mean, Michael Mann's he's one of the best ever. He's working on an HBO show.
I don't think I knew that.
It's called Tokyo Vice. It's like Miami Vice, but in Tokyo. It's based on a book that a detective, an American detective, went over there and worked in Japan, and he wrote a book about like the Yakuza and shit. So it's
nice.
Apparently, it's done filming.
Interesting. I'd love to see Scream Factory get the keep.
What's your dream box set? Like if you had unlimited budget.
Dream box set. I got to be honest, probably an entire 4K box set of the Nightmare on Elm Street series.
4K?
Yeah.
How cool would it be if it was just a giant glove? And you open it up and there's the discs.
Nah.
Nah, that's too much.
I'd rather have something like the Friday the 13th or Halloween box set.
Eric says Takashi Miike, the complete collection.
I need a new room for that one.
I would need a house.
They'd have to ship each one individually in like a van.
Actually, that would be so cool. They could send you one disc a month for the rest of your life. It'd be like a subscription service.
Every December is just special features.
Oh my god, we got the special features disc for the bird people of China. So Eric, I want to ask Eric this next week, but this is a pet peeve. In Japan, they say last name, first name. And for some reason, when white people do that, it triggers me when they go Mike Takeshi. Like I'm just like, dude, just fucking say it the way we say it. Come on, you fucking nerd. That would be a very expensive Asian movie box set. At least $300. More. Did you see the Evangelion box set was $300?
Oh, the limited edition one.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm all right. I love that.
Yeah,
but
no thanks.
The rumor has it Nightmare on Elm Street box set is coming. Probably not 4K.
No, it is not. That was absolutely a rumor. I mean, people have been talking about it, but everything that was leaked before, that was all faked.
Yeah, but if we talk about it enough, it'll happen.
Well, I mean, it worked for Friday the 13th.
So let's just keep talking about it. That's my favorite of the big three slashers: Friday, Halloween, and Nightmare.
Yeah. Well, and on that front, I'd love to see like a complete Hellraiser, everything on blue. I'd love to see a box set of all the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, get them all together in a box set. There's so many. Again, The Grudge, we absolutely need that.
I would love a King Hu box set, all 15 of his movies. It's not that many. He's, dragging in Touch of Zen, just incredible director. And what separates him from the time is that a lot of directors at the time period in martial arts films were putting men in their movies, like all male cast. He was focusing on women and the empowerment of women. Just an incredible director.
I'd still love to see a Tarantino 4K box set.
I'm sure that will happen once his 10th film is done. What do you think? Do you think? So I never believed Tarantino when he said 10 movies, because he seems to genuinely love making movies. But he has said that he thinks of Kill Bill as one movie,
right?
And then he recently came out and was like, "It's possible that Kill Bill 3 might be the next one." It would be great if he did Kill Bill, counted the trilogy as one movie, and then did a 10th final movie. Or King Dingley gave me a good idea: a Harvey Weinstein collection of all the women that thanked him at the Academy Awards.
It's called Mira Maximum Overdrive.
Mira Maximum Overdrive. I want to, and I'm not joking about this, I want a Bob Ross box set. Like, I'm not being funny. Taylor asked me about 3 months ago, "Hey, why is Bob Ross on every time I wake up?" And I'm like, "Because I just zone out watching Bob Ross." I would love a physical collection. The Columbia House Takashi Miike collection. Join now. First 5 films for $1, then full price for each film monthly. Dude, there's so many movies of Miike. A lot of shit. Ryan, can you let up on Flip on the best Bruce Willis since Pulp Fiction? Paul Bartel box set. Who's that?
That's another one. I recognize the name, but I was going to look that up first.
De La Morte UHD.
Oh, Paul Bartel is the one that did Eating Raoul.
What's Eating Gilbert Grape in 4K?
I mean, that's another big title. We're getting the Pirates in 4K next year.
When is Eastern Promises coming? Because they announced that at the beginning of the year.
There's a lot that they announced earlier that has not come. I mean, even Eternal Sunshine has not come out yet.
I don't care about that. I want
it. Eternal Sunshine's fucking great.
It's all right. Paul Blart 1 and 2 in 4K. Paul Blart in HDR.
With the bonus feature of that Seth Rogen Mall Cop movie.
What was that movie called? Fuck, I have it on Blu-ray somewhere. Someone, like a friend's mom, bought me that for a Christmas present years ago. I want a complete box set of The Shield. Oh wait, that already exists. Flip. I have it. I haven't seen it. Haven't watched it yet.
Did we talk about the details of that one of the characters in there has since been convicted of murder?
In real life?
In real life, yeah.
Who?
The guy that plays the gay cop Julian. the black cop. He is like shockingly brutal the way that, or maybe it's not murder, but I can't remember the entire thing, but yeah, I believe he like dragged somebody out by their hair and assaulted them and maybe killed them.
You know the Asian guy in the first Austin Powers movie?
The guy that plays the Oddjob character?
Oddjob, yeah.
Maybe.
He brutally raped a girl before he became an actor,
Ooh.
and they caught him like in the last handful of years. And you can watch his police interrogation video. He's like, "Have you ever seen Austin Powers?" He's like, "Yeah, I was in that. I have a Wikipedia page." And then they're like, "Yeah, we found your DNA. Yeah, your DNA." And he's like, "That's bad."
Yeah, don't say.
You're fucked. Can we get undeclared television series? We got Freaks and Geeks.
I love Undeclared.
Never seen it.
It stars your boy from Sons of Anarchy.
Ron Perlman?
No, the guy that plays Jax.
Oh,
Charlie Hunnam.
Yeah. Dude, that show was so trashy.
It was so great.
So good. I cried when Opie died.
It was a big deal.
Oh, so sad, dude.
Observe and report. That's what it's called.
That's what it is. The guy that you were talking about murdered his wife.
There it is.
Well, just like Bill Burr said, about the whole Rihanna situation. It's like, what did they say?
That one pisses me off so much that
Chris
Brown. No, that Chris Brown is still involved in so many things and
Chris Brown
gotten awards and everything.
Has he gotten awards since then?
I mean, he's at least been nominated, but that's just as bad.
I mean, when you have that beautiful voice,
this is such a serious comment.
He killed his wife
Ryan.
He shot her.
Charlie Hunnam is the main character in Undeclared. He's just super young.
Jeremy, look at you, thinking you're a film fan.
To be fair, it's a TV show, not a film.
You think you're a TV fan. The interrogation video should be an extra on the film.
Austin Powers in 4K now with more interrogation.
Dude, it's really so funny because they tell him they're like, yeah, there was a girl who was raped on Christmas Eve in 19 whatever, and you see him go like, oh crap. May he rot in hell.
Yep.
Didn't someone in the 40-year-old virgin also kill someone? What? Steve Carell. Just going around murdering people.
See you, Boba Fett.
Good. See you, Bubba. See you next week.
You know what's crazy is how much Mark Wahlberg has just been ignored, how much of a racist piece of shit he was. And like,
has he said sorry?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I have to find the screenshot now that we're talking about Mark Wahlberg. Someone left a comment on a picture. He posted a picture of him with his eye shut, like with a pad on it because he had blinded him. He got like something in his eye. And I sent it to my friend Nick Rady because we send each other funny memes all the time.
Flex got a question for you there.
Right here. There's a picture of Mark Wahlberg like this. And one of the comments I saw was, "Did you mistake yourself for a Vietnamese man and knock your own eye out?" And I was like, that's awesome.
That's perfect.
Yeah, D-Flex, I know exactly what that is. And very exciting. You're right. I know exactly what that deal is, what that license is, and it's very exciting for Kamen Rider fans. That's right. You're right. I always think of Jay as the main star of the show.
Jay was great on that, though.
I love you calling people on their bigotry.
Well, the bigotry obviously is a big deal, but I think as a society, the problem is that a lot of it we just simply ignore. Like, look at how much Mark Wahlberg has done since he literally blinded a Vietnamese man.
I mean, what's his name? The dude from Ferris Bueller. What's his name?
I don't know why I am blanking on it right now.
The main star of Ferris Bueller, he was in Ireland, and was drinking and driving. He was drunk.
With Jennifer Grey.
Killed an entire family, wife, husband, child. Just they're gone.
Matthew Broderick,
and he's out and about living life. Fucking probably doesn't even remember that. Just having a good old time. But because he's in Ferris Bueller, we forgive him.
No, he was also in Godzilla 2000.
Dude, hey, Gene Reno was supposed to be Agent Smith and turned it down for Godzilla 2000. Can you fucking believe that, dude? What a career misstep. Oh my god. But now I can't think of anything other than what's his name who plays Agent Smith? Why am I blanking on his name? Australian guy. Fantastic actor. Mr. Anderson. Just so good, dude. Who's your favorite bigot?
My favorite bigot. I mean,
genuinely. Who is someone that you overlook the bigotry and you enjoy their movies? Hugo Weaving. Thank you, Eric.
I mean, it's not bigotry in the racist sense, but I genuinely still love a lot of Kevin Spacey's acting. That's a hard one to get past.
That's a hard one to get past, dude.
Even recently, Baby Driver is a freaking
so good in
so
Baby
great
Driver,
movie.
Man. I mean, also fucking the main star of Baby Driver got canceled, and he's the fucking star of the Steven Spielberg movie that just came out.
Well, what did he get canceled for? I've
I've
not heard anything.
He had sex with an underage girl.
Oh god.
Let me see your Baby Driver. What's his name?
Ansel Elgort.
Yeah, see, that's a rapist name, dude.
Well, first of all, how do you get famous with that name?
Yeah, sexual assault allegations against Ansel Elgort resurface again with West Side Story. So I mean, this happened.
Yikes!
I mean, there's proof. How do you feel about Armie Hammer? Because he didn't really do anything illegal, right? He was just like he had a weird fetish.
It's just a cannibal.
But is he like it's just a fetish? You know what I mean? Like
right.
He didn't do anything against somebody's will. He was talking with someone who seemed to be of consent. They were messaging him back weird shit. I kind of feel bad for that dude because he just had a very weird fetish.
To a point. Some of it is very like controlling and
yeah, it's weird, but like
manipulative.
People have control fetishes. It's just I don't know.
I had no idea about the Rebecca Gayheart thing. I'm gonna have to look that one up.
What? I mean, let's talk about fucking what's her name?
Maximus's comment.
I'm willing to overlook Armie Hammer's cannibalism fetish because it's funny. He's not even a good actor, and also he's like an heir to an oil tycoon. So it's like he's fine, like he's good. What's her name? God, I'm sorry, I can't blink. Why am I blinking? Transgendered Kardashian. Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner literally killed somebody texting and driving, and we overlooked it and gave her Woman of the Year. Like that's so fucking stupid. That's so absolutely stupid. And then it backfired on the trans community because she's a fucking Republican. She hates gay people.
And then
she's against gay rights. Like what?
Was considering running for election in California.
She did. She was running. She dropped out.
But during the primary.
Oh, dude, God, fuck Caitlyn Jenner. I mean, my favorite Hollywood producer is Harvey Weinstein. I mean, I'm not saying that like as a fucking joke. The movies that he produced are incredible.
I've never been able to attach with Woody Allen films no matter what.
Yeah, so. I can't. Also, Roman Polanski, I can only get into Macbeth just because I love that story.
I don't think you'll disagree with me, but a lot of people will. Hot take, I really don't like Rosemary's Baby. I
do not like it.
To me, it's not that great of a movie.
I think it's disgusting that Roman Polanski literally fucked like she was a 12-year-old.
She was very young, yeah.
Very young girl at Jack Nicholson's house, and then flees to France and wins for The Pianist. Like standing ovation. Everyone in Hollywood is behind him. Like it just I don't understand. I don't understand. What about Fatty Arbuckle? What did Fatty Arbuckle do? Besides be fat. No, Rosemary's Baby is a masterpiece of shit.
I don't think it's shit. I don't think it's the masterpiece that everybody says it is. That's the problem.
Oh, Angelica Houston was there too. I mean, look at Christopher Walken. He was on that boat that died. That Natalie Wood's died.
Natalie Wood, yeah.
You know, it's like a lot of shady shit in Hollywood. That's why, like, when all the Me Too stuff was happening, I'm so relieved that like Quentin Tarantino was not a raging rapist.
Everybody already knew about his foot fetish, so
the foot fetish is front and center, and that's not even a weird fetish.
But then there's stuff, we're talking about Hollywood, and then you have stuff like this.
Yeah, that blows my mind. All the stuff that people, everyone he's like the fucking Clintons of acting. Everyone's just dying. Fatty Arbuckle is probably innocent. I don't know what Fatty Arbuckle did, so. I mean, isn't it also weird that like Leonardo DiCaprio only dates women from like 18 to 25, I think it is, and then dumps
I think it's less than that. I think it's 23.
It's 23? That's so weird, dude.
Yeah.
Was probably ghost directed by Tarkovsky. That's why I hate it so much. Christopher Walken knows stuff we don't. Or, I mean, it could literally just be a freak accident. They could have gotten into a fight and she was drunk and fell over. I mean, that shit happens, but it's just weird. Like, weird circumstances.
The hard part is we'll never really know.
We'll never know, dude. I mean, it's bizarre to me that, like, you can have people like Dog the Bounty Hunter, Hulk Hogan, and Mel Gibson get caught on camera on recording saying awfully racist shit.
Yeah.
Or anti-Semitic shit, and then just bounce right back into popularity, and everyone just doesn't bat an eye.
Didn't Mel beat up his girlfriend or wife or something too?
I don't think he beat her up.
Okay.
He's not that Mad Max, you know?
He's slightly temperamental, Max.
Yeah, he's slightly anti-Semitic, Max.
He's pretty anti-Semitic.
Oh, very anti-Semitic. Yeah, it's just. Also, I want to highlight King Dingling. The Kevin Spacey that was on the Epstein log is not the actor Kevin Spacey. There's somebody else named Kevin. I just want.
Do we know that?
I think it's. Oh, and also Chris Tucker. There was it was like a lawyer named Chris Tucker. Because when I read that, I was like, not Chris Tucker. I mean, Jackie Chan is a piece of shit too, and everyone loves him. So.
Well, and somebody said it earlier. If you look into any, I think it was Eric that said it. If you look into any production, you'll find at least one piece of shit.
I mean, did you hear about the Sony PlayStation thing recently? The vice president of Sony PlayStation was caught by one of those YouTubers catching pedophiles. The vice president. Weird fetish cannibalism isn't a fetish. It's something I don't know, Ragnar. You can have a fetish, like you can enjoy something that you know you would never do. I think part of what becomes so attractive to that is that it is so taboo. You know what I mean?
I think that's the difference between kink and fetish, though. This is a weird thing to get into on a movie.
Also, I mean, we're talking about Armie Hammer. He's a movie. I mean, the thing with Armie Hammer is that not that I know if he didn't physically hurt anybody. It was all just messages with women who seem to be consenting. And we are just shaming him because it's a weird fucking kink. But really, we should be shaming the woman who played along with it and then leaked it to the internet. That's what we should be doing because it's just a kink.
Maybe. I don't remember. I believe there was some manipulation in some of it.
The conversation has brought us here to talk about Deadly Manor.
Flip is not into things like Deadly Manor.
Fetishes are perfectly fine as long as it's safe and consensual. Yeah, that's what that's like my whole point.
That is the.
But also, you have who's the director of X-Men?
Oh, Bryan Singer.
Yeah, Bryan Singer. Look at him; he's still doing shit.
Well, and that's okay. So that is the exact point. Is my biggest problem with all of this is that if you know someone is a piece of shit and you knowingly hire them or pay them, it starts getting really gross. I mean, obviously this is the easy one to go back to other than Harvey Weinstein, but Victor Salva was a convicted child rapist, and Disney hired. He's the one that did Jeepers Creepers.
Okay, yeah.
So Disney knew what happened on Clown House and hired him to direct Powder.
See, when it comes to, I mean, this is gonna sound fucked up. I can separate art from artists, but when it comes to anything that has to do with children, I cannot overlook that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I can't overlook someone. Like, I can overlook Kevin Spacey and watch his movies, but I can't overlook like someone who does harm to a child. Does that make sense?
To a point, but I think, like, to me, I don't really view it through that lens either. I don't think I'm overlooking anything by me watching them for a movie, and especially
Please
for
don't
somebody.
tell me that's true.
I believe it is.
I'm gonna forget that I read that. That's
what I was getting at is, especially with something like Victor Salva, it's a lot easier to watch Jeepers Creepers because he's the director. So it's not something that I'm seeing on screen the entire time. But at the same time, a crime is a crime, no matter what. So I don't really look at it as it's worse because it was done towards a kid. I mean, some of this stuff it's rape, no matter what. And the Kevin Spacey stuff, the Bryan Singer stuff, the Victor Salva stuff, it doesn't matter. It's something that is hard to overlook in a lot of situations. But at the same time, they already got paid for that movie. Me watching that movie is not putting anything in their pocket, really. And even if I buy a release of Jeepers Creepers nowadays, Victor Silva already got paid for that license. It's not me paying Victor Salva. He's not getting rich because I'm buying it.
yeah. I mean, there's a problem with. I
mean, if anything, we can be mad at Scream Factory for putting out his movie, knowing that.
It's a very Jeremy's right. It's a hard line to draw because there are, like, I think Clint Eastwood's a great example. Clint Eastwood is racist, but for me personally, I think he's a great director up to a certain year. I think his westerns. I think Unforgiven is one of the best films of all time. Yeah, and there's a lot of people that worked on those movies that are good people. So it all comes down to, like, it's really just a personal choice. Like, can you overlook a certain thing or not? For instance, the Rurouni Kenshin movies, right? The mangaka, the guy who created the franchise, got caught with child porn on his computer. And it's like, I'll never buy the manga because that directly supports him. But how much is buying a Blu-ray or watching an adaptation that's already been paid for going to support him? Like, probably nothing. Right. Especially like when you look at like box office numbers for like the Demon Slayer movie, it made like $300 million at the box office, and the mangaka got 13 grand of it. So probably nothing.
You know what? Odd thing to bring up, but you just lit up a memory that I have. I haven't been super public about what I do for a living, but one of the people that I was investigating one time was a twice convicted child. They've been caught with child porn, and this person's job, they were a pediatrician, and I just got so sick reading that.
They got caught twice and continue to work?
Yeah.
How?
Being in multiple countries. You know what I do for a living, so you know what I was investigating. But
God damn.
Yeah.
But yeah, Harvey Weinstein, my favorite movie producer.
After all
that, just produce the best movies.
This is a weird way to wrap up a conversation on the best 4K releases and box sets of the year.
I don't think Harvey Weinstein had his hand. No, wait, he did. I think True Romance he produced.
Oh, absolutely.
Good job, Harvey. That was a good movie.
And that was on both of our lists.
That's how good it was. We're all human. People live in glass houses and shouldn't throw stones. I haven't done any of that shit, so I can throw as many stones as I want.
And that's the thing, it's very easy to point out something like the religious answer of "for all have sinned," but to be honest, the fact that I lied about doing my homework in second grade isn't butt fucking a 6-year-old.
Not at all. Not at all. Half the population is racist. I guess. I'm racist towards Italians. Thank you, Maximus. I agree with that. That's a good one. That's a good one. And then if you read stuff about Shaw Brothers, Run Shaw, who was the producer, had like a bed at the studio in the back room so he could think the female talent. So like this shit's been going on in every country, in any film, any cinema. It's just wild.
Yeah.
My only takeaway from this episode is that fetishes are okay. Flip likes cannibals, and that I really want to know what Ryan does for a living.
And then followed up absolutely nothing about 4Ks.
Oh man,
Gavin, we really need Prom Night 2 on Blu-ray or 4K, really. But God, I don't understand why we don't have a release of that.
Well, you want to wrap it up? It's been 3 hours and 15 minutes.
Jesus Christ. Just a key for next week. Remember, we are going to be in here discussing our favorite single releases, meaning any release of a single film. If there's 2 films that's out, so like Django Limited, it's out. We talked about it both tonight, but we can't talk about it because it came with another film. There are so many.
Oh, really? Because I was including Sabata. Oh, fuck.
It's called single releases.
Okay.
That's the whole point. Sabata is a box set.
Yes, man, I should have included that then. Oh no, we're not. We will not be covering anything else on that unless Eric, who's our guest next week, has anything to say about the matter.
Absolutely need to get back to films, and next week we will. I mean, even tonight we all were, but a lot of this is completely important for the way that you consume cinema, anyways. So. Everybody, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions on any of the 4Ks or box sets that we listed and talked about, by all means, send them in the comments. Hit us up on social media. We'll be happy to discuss. Hope you enjoyed. And next week, bring your favorite single releases to the comments. We'll discuss them all then. Flip, thanks for hanging out tonight. Hope you have a good week.
You too, buddy.
See you guys next time. We love you. Bye.